All right. Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed the stream starting image. I with the manga with My Hero Academia having ended recently, I had no shortage of excellent memes to pick from, but I had to go with the classic. You know me. So yeah, hey, welcome. We're doing more Death Battle today, and I'm excited for today's one because we're going to be finishing up season 9 and starting season 10, the as of right now final season of Death Battle. And I mean, at this point, we know we're getting more. But they said that from this point forward, they aren't really going to be doing the seasonal structure. It's going to be more of just death battles will kind of just come out. So, yeah, that's cool. Oh, and to illustrate what kind of doozy of a viewing sesh we've got today, here's your spoiler disclaimer. Let me see if I can break this up a bit to make it easier to read. Oh, that's so much better. Hold on. Alright, that should not get in the way of things too much. Let me just get this terror off the screen and get the main event back. Which magical index? A certain one. Don't worry about it. You will see. They'll all see. But first, the season 9 Halloween episode, Jason Voorhees versus Michael Myers. Which, is like a pretty big matchup.
Prepare yourselves. It's time we tell the tale of Crystal Lake's masked murderer, Jason Voorhees.
And the horrifying boogeyman of Haddonfield, Michael Myers.
He's Wiz and I'm Boo.
And I love the
and
setup.
It's our job to bring terror and fright on this Halloween night on Death Battle.
They're telling spooky campfire stories. It's fun.
Within the woods of Crystal Lake lurks a killer, buried but not dead, doomed to rise from the grave and slaughter those who live and love, if you know what I mean.
This is the curse of Jason Voorhees.
Rumor has
Vor.
it he was a deformed child, bullied and harassed all of his life, only cared for by his single mother.
Gross.
But not even Mama Voorhees could save Jason when he tragically drowned at Camp Crystal Lake.
Was a guest on the
Or
Arsenio
did
Hall
he?
show.
Over time, Crystal
Man,
Lake
when
became wrought with strange
the
disappearances
80s and 90s were
violent
weird.
deaths.
Including the camp counselors who should have been watching Jason when he drowned all those years ago. Someone, or something, ... was out for vengeance.
And yet these harrowing murders were committed by none other than Jason's own mother, Pamela Voorhees, seeking revenge against those who neglected her child, dooming him to his terrible end.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Good for her, I guess.
However, even after her killing spree was cut short, the deaths continued. Nobody could prove it, but maybe,
Voorhees
just
a murderer.
maybe, Jason was still alive.
Holy shit! Yeah, he's definitely alive. Wait, has he been living in the lake this whole time?
Jason has fortitude far beyond any normal man. You can swing an axe in his face, blast half his body away, or trap him in an exploding building. Yet it will all be in vain.
Even when one of the few survivors of his attacks hacked him to pieces, Jason rose again. Seriously, this happens a lot.
You gotta love
Nobody knows
Jason.
the true source of his
Like,
unkillable
the
nature.
original
Some say
slasher
it's an
villain.
indigenous curse. Others say it's the Necronomicon, and some even say it's a hell worm. So not too many reasonable answers.
Either way, be careful, or you just might end up on the wrong side of Jason's trusty machete. Something he uses with enough strength to split skulls and pierce metal.
Even when Jason
Damn.
has no weapon, he can be resourceful and oddly creative with his kills. He might blood bludgeon you to death with a sleeping bag, drown you in a garbage can, or
Oh.
snap you in half between a bedfold.
Worst of all, this demented mama's boy will always get his prey. Oh, you think you can run away? Well, think again, idiot. He can teleport.
No, he can't.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about the time he appeared in multiple places at once around
Oh, yeah,
this
that's gonna
dance
be
floor?
fun.
See? Teleporting.
Wrong. Hallucinations resulting from a mix of cocaine and panic.
Okay, smartass, how about when he teleported from one end of this ship to another? How'd he get there?
Actually, when watching the full scene for complete context, there is plenty of time afforded for Jason to jump down the deck while off camera. He is quite athletic after all.
What, without making any sound? The guy's built like he's made of 100 brick houses. Are we watching the same movie?
Look, fans have argued this for years, and while admittedly those moments are questionable, they're not enough to prove actual teleportation.
I do like how they
How about
tackle
this one?
the
In Jason X,
teleportation
where three
argument.
soldiers are shooting him straight on, and he just disappears. Poof, gone. While they're looking right at him, goddammit, it's teleporting.
Well, I'm sure there's a logical explanation.
I just stared at this scene while processing 900 trillion frames per second, and Boomstick is correct.
Ha!
Also, now my eyes are broken. Joy.
You know, Jason can actually teleport in the video games, so I believe it.
I suppose teleporting
Ringmaster's
would
just
explain how,
playing the
despite his working
Switch.
size, Jason can move with ghostly silence and pick off victims one by one. Are you sure about this, dummy? Dummy.
Oh, where'd he
Either way, Jason's unstoppable bloodlust makes him a horrifying threat.
Even if you think you're protected by a foot of solid steel, he'll just crash through it to stab you.
And though it's tough to believe, there may actually be a deadlier Jason out there too.
Stronger, faster, and campier. This is Uber Jason, rebuilt from
What
Jason's
the
remains
fuck?
through a sinister fusion of science and mysticism. And guess what? Normal Jason later fought Uber Jason and actually held his own. Yeah, the comics get kind of wacky, just go with it.
Only natural for a monster that has fought other supernatural entities.
Like Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, and the groovy man himself, Ash Williams.
Indeed. So be warned, if you ever see a shadow move
That would be a
through the
fun
darkness
character to have on
and
Death
hear a
Battle.
familiar
Ash Williams.
run. Jason is out to find you, and chances are you are not leaving alive.
Ooh.
On a bleak Halloween night, Michael Myers was born into the world as a seemingly
Dot Jason
normal child.
Voorhees.
However, beneath his pale, blank face hid something dark, something evil.
How evil? Well, he stabbed his sister Judy to death when he was just 6 years old. Oh, what a rascal.
Michael was institutionalized at a sanitarium where he simply sat still, almost like a machine. His psychiatrist, Dr. Loomis, spent 8 years trying to reach him, but Michael never
His
said
mask
a
is
word.
modeled
But
after
even
William
when locked
Shatner.
up,
I
he
had
still
heard that
managed to get
before.
away with several murders, including Loomis's fiancée. There was no helping or stopping Michael. More than anything, he wanted to kill.
After 15 years, the night before Halloween, he broke out of the sanitarium, leaving behind one word: sister.
The story goes Michael had another sibling, Lori, and for some unknowable reason, he wanted her to suffer the same fate as Judy. And everyone else, really. He's not too picky, and he could do it too.
For in his hands, anything can be a deadly weapon. Countless reports of various murders have appeared across Haddonfield. He's exploded heads, boiled people alive, and used his trademark knife to stab poor souls to walls like some macabre piece of art.
When they say to admire your work,
Damn.
I don't think this is what they meant. And this isn't some special combat
Arsenal,
knife or dagger.
car.
He did this with an ordinary kitchen knife.
Yeah,
Michael is
the
also
first couple
surprisingly
are
clever.
good.
Despite being confined
And
for
then, like
nearly
many
all his
horror movie
life,
reboots,
at some
they get,
point, he
like,
apparently taught himself how to drive.
dumb and
It's pretty
stupid and
clear this
fan
masked
servicey.
psycho was definitely plotting something while he was
So
in
yeah,
the
I
war.
don't think the
All
recent
these
ones are
kills
that
were just
great.
A detour to his
But, like,
ultimate goal.
the first
Laurie,
one's a
on
classic.
An all too familiar Halloween night, he finally met his long-lost sister and nearly killed her.
But Loomis intervened, shooting Michael and sending him out a window. Phew, well, guess that's the end of him. Yeah, you know it's not.
No one knows how, but the body simply vanished, only to return later that night as if nothing had happened.
There's a reason why they call him the Boogeyman.
Even after being set on fire and rendered comatose, Michael Myers would not be stopped.
Almost like he's some kind of invincible undead monster.
Many explanations have been given for Michael's strange abilities.
I like Jocelyn's
but some
boots.
less reputable sources suggest he's bound to the ancient druidic Curse of Thorn, whose symbol is, well, they say it's an ancient icon of Halloween, but it's actually the Norse rune for Thor, sometimes called the Thorn Rune. I think they just Googled rune and thorn and called it a day.
Whoa.
It's just
Is
a
Michael
letter.
Myers a Viking? Yes! Awesome!
Curse or no curse, Michael is inexplicably driven to kill without hesitation.
Yeah, there's like
and his
3
victims
Halloween,
almost never
just
see him
Halloween
coming.
ones, right? Uh-oh.
You said, uh-oh.
Well,
He
explaining
left his
Michael away with
switch.
a vague curse is nothing more than a crutch for the truth. The fact of the matter is, no one knows why he is so cruel, so violent, so unstoppable. He just is.
At the end of the day, evil gives no explanation, only despair.
Michael thrives not just on the
Danganronpa?
satisfaction of murder, but the fear it inflicts in others.
Even scarier, his kills are done with surgical precision. He can murder you as quickly or slowly as he wants. This guy knows exactly what he's doing with that kitchen knife. He's like a hibachi chef of death.
And yet, his attacks were almost brought to an end by Laurie herself. But when the time came for the final blow, Michael proved his intelligence and wit by faking his own death using a body double.
All while getting his sister to commit murder for him.
How?
Honestly, I'm kind of impressed.
He's also either impossibly sneaky, or he can use teleportation, because he once moved through a yard full of motion sensors without setting off a single one, until he wanted to.
Look at this. There's just no stopping him. Fill him full of bullets, Michael will come back ready to rip off your
Stupid.
head. Put him in the center of an exploding church, he'll survive and go on to kill dozens more people, just for dramatic effect.
It was this relentless evil that made the people of Haddonfield go ballistic and band together to end Michael Myers once and for all.
Unfortunately, the town would soon realize that was just not possible.
Any ordinary person would have been long dead after what he experienced, but he took all of the town's punishment, got right back up, and went right back to doing what he does best.
And you know what's the creepiest part about all this? They never caught him. He's still out there looking for his next prey, I assume.
Yeah.
So every Halloween night, lock your doors, turn off your lights, and pray you'll make it to morning. Because the boogeyman is real, and his name is Michael Myers.
Anyway, this episode's sponsored by Babbel
Sponsored by BetterHelp.
and BetterHelp. If you have an unquenchable thirst for killing, then you might need therapy.
We'll stalk another day.
It's time for a spooky death battle!
Anyway, fight time.
Mother is talking to you. The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Kill her. Kill her.
Yeah, like, in the terms of the horror movie genre, that's a pretty big, like,
Alex!
staple of the
We gotta go!
of film. And yeah, Halloween and Friday the 13th would be like the two to watch. Oh hey, an axe.
Kill him, Jason. Kill him. Make Mother proud.
Gross. Ooh. I mean, again, it's Death Battle. That's like the point. So,
Okay, are
the
we
animations-
sure he's dead? You can't be too careful
The
with
animation's
these
a little
guys.
Michael Myers won't be rising from
strange.
the grave
I
this
think it's
time.
like it's
Jason
supposed to be
was
like
too
a
much for him.
Dead
The
by
stories may
Daylight
paint these slashers
reference,
as
but with the
unstoppable, but
victim
they do have limits
characters,
and can be
and
understood.
it's
To Michael's
kind of
credit, he can
neat
match Jason in a lot of ways.
how it's
Both
set
were
up.
experts in methods of killing,
But
and both could totally teleport.
Jason and Michael
Though if both of
only
them really
fight
could
in
teleport,
Jason
then
versus
neither had an
Michael for
advantage
like
in that regard. So
a
teleportation
less than a
deniers can
minute,
rest
I
easy
think.
knowing it wasn't really a factor here.
Even the explosions
So,
that survived
that's
were
kind of
similar
weird.
in size and
Also, some of the
destructibility.
facial
But Jason
expressions
held
on the
edge
victim
with
were
his
kind of
superior endurance and
strange.
healing. Michael faking his death with a body double was clever,
Yeah.
but he did it because he explicitly could not survive something like decapitation or getting half his torso blown off.
But Jason could. He also had more experience fighting other
Yeah, the
supernatural enemies
atmosphere
like Leatherface Freddy
was
and his
really
older
good.
self. So I doubt Michael
But-
would have surprised him with something he's never seen before.
And I mean,
Jason
these
was
guys
just
aren't
as
like
strong and vicious as Michael, if not more. So given the difference in
fighters.
survivability,
They usually just
he had
kind
a
of like
much better chance of
stab
striking Michael down
people.
first. In a battle between two unkillable monsters,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
only natural it would come down to who was more unkillable.
After being ripped to pieces, Michael could now rip in peace. Right, Jocelyn? Jocelyn? Hello?
The winner is Jason Voorhees.
I do love the setup with the analysis, though. That's very fun.
But you can always get more Death Battle right now by clicking one of those boxes right over there, and by downloading the battle music linked down below.
Ooh, and next episode is an interesting one. Sauron versus the Lich
This
King.
episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Bespoke Post and Shady Rays.
These are two series that have not been on the show yet, Lord of the Rings and Warcraft, which is very
Sauron,
interesting.
the Lord of the Rings.
The Lich King, Warcraft's Lord of the Scourge.
Evil has many shapes, but few can match the presence of these kings of blight and shadow.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our
This
job
was
to
a
analyze
long-time
their weapons,
request, I
armor, and
think.
skills to
So,
find out who would win
it's cool
a
to
death
see them
battle.
finally tackle it. Who would Gollum fight?
Within the timeless halls
I don't
at
know.
the dawn of creation, the
Dobby
supreme god Eru
from
and his
Harry
angelic
Potter?
Ainur created all of existence through a single harmonious song.
But
Dobby
one of
does have,
these
like,
angels
magic,
just
though.
had to be a rebel. Melkor ruined that harmony, giving the world its many, many imperfections, like Wiz. Then, after messing up God's hit single and going rogue, Melkor took up a new name just to be even more meddled. Morgoth.
Morgoth's power was impressive, daunting. Several Maiar, essentially lower-ranked angels, joined him in his frightening conquest of the world he had helped create.
And the greatest of these followers was one obsessed with destroying all life in the pursuit of bringing about complete order.
Gollum
He
versus
used to be
Smeagol.
Myra,
True.
But under Morgoth's reign, he became the one and only Sauron.
As the bigwig of Morgoth's forces, Sauron spent thousands of years bringing Middle-earth to its knees.
He's almost more a force of nature than anything else, able to create infernos, cause country-spanning earthquakes, and even absorb souls.
Gollum
And because
won
he's
the
a
argument.
weird angel spirit man, he can morph his body around his own soul however he wants, or just shed it like clothing and fight as a ghost.
He can morph far beyond that. He has appeared as something akin to both man and elf, attractive and devious. A werewolf, once thought to be the greatest wolf of all, and even a vampire.
Oh man, Tumblr's gonna go nuts with that.
Many of his greatest accomplishments are not due to his powerful
The ultimate
magics and
Tumblr
weaponry,
sexy
but his
man,
inhuman
Sauron.
cunning. Sauron is nothing less than a master of manipulation.
He's like if Loki and Satan did a fusion dance. He loves to trick someone with illusions, shadow magic, or just by toying with their sad,
That can
predictable,
defeat
pathetic
darkness.
human emotions. Like when he convinced Saruman to join the evil side, who was basically a super wizard specifically meant to lead the charge against Sauron.
In some ways, Sauron is actually wiser than the master he served. In the most epic war to eclipse all other wars, humans, dwarves, elves, and more united to destroy Morgoth, casting what remained of Melkor into the void.
But Sauron saw it coming and bailed faster than me at
Oh,
a
yeah.
divorce hearing, just to show back up
Sauron's
centuries
so
later in the
cool.
fiery pits of Mordor.
There, the Dark Lord created a plan to conquer everything. He fooled the Elven Smiths into forging 19 rings of power and planted them among the leaders of Elven, Man, and Dwarven kind, all controlled by another ring he made in secret.
The one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Oh god, that's so epic. Think him into poetry now. Forged in the fires of Mount Doom using part of Sauron's own soul, the One Ring amplified his power and let him control the minds and actions of the other ring bearers.
And it can make him go
The
invisible.
9 kings of men were especially vulnerable and saw themselves reduced to twisted wraiths bent to Sauron's whims.
It wasn't any better for the less kingly humans. So much so that Sauron mind-controlled most of Numenor. We're talking about an island nation that could have had as many as 18 million people, and Sauron had them all at his creepy, pokey fingertips.
This led to
Estimate population is
retaliation
credited to
from
a doctor of
Eru, who had
philosophy.
hardly directly intervened ever before, even against Morgoth. Eru sank Numenor, while Sauron was still on it. But the Dark Lord's spirit
Yeah,
persevered.
I mean
indestructible
the
even against
like
the
3
wrath
Lord of
of
the Rings
God.
movies are
Sauron used
awesome.
the ring to build himself
The
a new
Hobbit
body.
movies,
It
not
may
so
have cost
much.
a lot of power, but he took a biblical event to the face and went right back on to being evil.
And yet, putting so much power into one object did have drawbacks.
Which hit back hard when Isildur subtracted a digit from his hand.
The Warrior King did more than just cut off a finger. He took the ring and its power for himself. This act forced Sauron to retreat as a disembodied spirit, threatened by his own power in the hands of another. And should the One Ring be destroyed completely, Sauron's spirit could be rendered impotent beyond repair. It isn't all bad, though. The ring can turn you invisible, create visions of impending doom, and has one hell of a defense mechanism.
Yeah, who'd want to destroy it when it makes you want it? Has a will of its own, with promises whispered even the best of us can't refuse. The greatest poultry dinner ever, Boomstick. Bourbon, pecan, parmesan, turducken. It's so precious.
What did you just do?
What? It sounded delicious.
I
Ring or
like
no
the
ring,
um
Sauron's a beast. He's swatted away
the subversion of having Boomstick just eat the one ring.
Willpower. He has total control over his own being and can modify his soul
Instead of,
at
like,
will,
put it on
so
and
he
be
can
all evil.
definitely
He just
resist
ate
someone
it.
like spooky ghost Celebrimbor trying to dominate a spirit.
And being among the strongest Maiar, the peak of Sauron's power is beyond that of Osei, a lesser Maya, which is specifically important because Osei single-handedly raised the island of Numenor.
Yeah, remember that island that got Noah'd? That place. No wonder everyone wants his ring. Who could turn down that much power?
Not Isildur. The hearts of men are easily corrupted, and he kept the ring rather than destroy it. But in the end, the ring destroyed him and waited for its master's return.
Sauron was rebuilding Mordor into a world-conquering force. And after a little bit of good old-fashioned torture, he found out the ring was in the Shire. The chillest, coziest, dopest place imaginable. Ah, man, when I retire, I'm gonna go live in a hobbit hole and just get lit 24/7.
And so began the War
That
of the
really is
Ring.
what hobbits
Sauron's
are.
forces
Just a
covered
bunch
the
of
land,
short
seeking
people
both the ring
getting
and the
high as
downfall of
balls.
man, always shadowed by the symbol of his ever-present influence, the Eye of Sauron.
It was a slaughterfest. Middle-earth stood no chance. Everybody basically accepted death by orcs as inevitable. It was hopeless. The kingdoms of men would finally fall for good.
Save for the Dark Lord's truest weakness. Sauron's cunning and stratagems were impressive, sure, but ultimately, he never truly understood the people of Middle-earth. In his mind, absolute power was factually irresistible. He never imagined a mere mortal could ever or would ever seek to actually destroy the One Ring.
Against all odds and a whole lot of walking, Sauron was defeated. Not by the sparkly new king or the armies of Middle-earth, but by the most unlikely creature imaginable, Elijah Wood.
Yet, even as a formless shadow, Sauron's legacy remains one of domination, treachery, and most of all, fear. Fitting for the being that represents, and I quote, as near an approach to the wholly evil will as is possible.
Ooh. Ominous. Anyway, this episode's sponsored by Bespoke Post.
You'll also battle or destruction.
The sponsors definitely have some tonal whiplash, although there are some that are very funny in their timing.
Ner'zhul prepared a spell with his followers to tear the planet asunder, all to escape the fury of the demon lord Kil'jaeden.
But when Ner'zhul
What'd
walked
Jaden
through
never
the portal,
do? Why do you want to kill
was
him?
right there waiting for him.
Ner'zhul was forced to serve Kil'jaeden's will to ravage another world, Azeroth. Thus, he was transformed into the first Lich King.
This Lord of the Dead was sent to the continent of Northrend, but Kil'jaeden had one more twist for poor Zul. His body was gone, leaving just his spirit, which was bound to a set of armor sealed within a prison of magical ice. Man, this guy can't catch a break. Armor looks sick, though. He's gonna possess me if I put that on, huh?
From his frozen prison, the Lich King would begin his conquest, conjuring an unstoppable plague of undeath. Soon, this would threaten the lives of the kingdom of Lordaeron.
Okay, so that was a lot, but here's where our main guy finally shows up. Lordaeron's crown prince and holy knight, Arthas Menethil. Yeah, his name does kind of sound like something your doctor would give you for fungus, but hey, no. Arthas was a badass. At 19 years old, he was considered one of the best swordsmen in the world and had mastered nearly every weapon
Intern
he
at
could.
Blizzard in
Even with such a
2017.
skilled warrior
Uh-oh.
as its prince, Lordaeron was already severely pressured by a war
Is he
with
gonna
an
get
orcish
Me
horde,
Too'd?
So a
Ugh.
zombie plague was the last thing Arthas needed.
Arthas,
Compounding
no.
this even further, Ner'zhul managed to break free of Kil'jaeden's power and turned his attention toward creating a champion to lead his ever-growing scourge. Naturally, he chose Arthas.
Who was a stressed out mess, to the point where he tried to stop the plague by killing everyone in his own city. Holy shit! Yeah, he was totally losing it, so hearing a creepy voice in his head really didn't help.
Long story short, in his efforts to protect his realm,
Man,
Arthas
Warcraft's
discovered a
cool. I
rune
wish
and took it
Blizzard
for himself.
weren't the worst
This
company
was
ever.
The fearsome Frostmourne.
Surprise! It's the source of the Lich King's power. He was stealing souls and storing them within the blade. With this new ice-cold cleaver in hand, Arthas lost his soul and got a Death Knight makeover.
And so the former hero of light would lead the very scourge he previously fought.
And in time, Arthas would don the armor for himself, giving the Lich King a new, ultimate power. Walking!
Remember, everything the Lich King had done up until this point had been from his prison within a literal block of ice.
And this new Sauronite armor, Saronite armor, is the best. Like, what was it doing stuck in ice all this time when it's made of old god blood and self-repairs? Screw you, blacksmith, you're never taking my hard-earned gold. I'll never have to get naked and die again.
By donning this dark helm, Ner'zhul and Arthas fused to become one, a being far more powerful than either had been before.
He could
So
effortlessly
badass.
cover cities in ice storms, murder hundreds with the power of shadow, and learn all of your secrets with the Eye of Acheris.
Azeroth's fate was
Oh, he's got a
sealed.
funny eye, too.
Everyone was doomed.
See this guy? He's Illidan, a 15,000-year-old demon hunter with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. As a Death Knight, Arthas could take him down, even after fighting through a massive army to get to him. Against this new Lich King, Illidan never stood a chance.
This is important because Illidan had absorbed the power of Gul'dan, an orc warlock who, alongside his followers, raised the Broken Isles out of the sea, a massively powerful feat of magic.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fact
they're
that
kind
Arthas,
of
a mortal guy,
themed
beat him
around
up is a
opposing
big
elements.
deal. Just imagine how
And they got the,
kick-ass
like,
he'd be in
red
full
and
control of
blue
the
kinda
undying
color
Lich
schemes
King
going on.
powers.
It's
Oh, wait,
neat.
we don't have to.
Ner'zhul may have pulled Arthas' strings up until this point, but he had made a drastic miscalculation. Within the mind of the Lich King, Arthas battled Ner'zhul for control and won. The power of Frostmourne, of the Scourge, of Undeath itself was now under the command of Arthas.
And by this point, he was just done. Like, with everything. We've all had one of those days, right? Where you see all of humanity is so pathetic they can only be saved by just killing them all, so you rip out your own heart.
Yep.
Yeah, relatable.
Determined
Happens
to
to
end
the
all
best
life,
of us.
Arthas led his scourge across Azeroth, spreading the plague to every corner of the world. He slaughtered every contender in his path, including legendary champions like this hero of the Horde, Dranosh Sarfang.
Who the Lich King bitch slapped to death in one hit, then zombified to serve him instead. Man, that didn't go well.
The Lich King seemed unstoppable.
Only one thing could take him down. A 25-man raid team of the best nerds World of Warcraft servers had to offer. And that one guy who was just there because he was friends with somebody, but
Can
damn, he
canonically
sucked.
wipe out an
With
entire
these,
25-man raid.
Heroes
Huh.
triumphant, the Paladin Tyrion shattered Frostmourne with an equally legendary blade, ending the Lich King's vile reign.
But the Scourge doesn't work on Phantom Menace battle droid rules, so there must always be a Lich King to keep the relentless undead in check.
Yet no Lich King before or since ever matched the terror and malice Arthas brought to Azeroth.
Without a doubt, one of the most terrifying kings to ever conquer the world of Warcraft.
Hey, that's the name of the thing!
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Shady Rays.
Now, feel
All right, the combatants are set. We run the data through all possibilities.
It's nice seeing two series that aren't like really versus series that you would think of getting the versus battle treatment.
I shall claim what is mine. In this cold north, you will find only death.
Just going to Soul. Whoa, doggy.
I'll tear out your heart. You will find nothing.
That line's so cool. Cause yeah, he doesn't have a heart.
You serve me now. I serve no one.
Kirby final boss.
Witness the prophecy of your doom.
Eyeball battle. Eyeball battle.
There is no life in the void. Only death.
Yes, yeah, that fight fucking rules. That's like a legitimate, like, almost 10 out of 10. This one's great. Yeah, he had the type advantage. Fire beats ice.
First up, both Dark Lords could counter pretty much any mind or soul-screwing powers, making a lot of their usual tricks way less noteworthy in this match.
To be fair, the Lich King severely debilitated Sauron via his plague of undeath. Most physical bodies would not survive such a disease.
So Sauron just got rid of his body. Who needs it? Especially when you can rebuild one or just start fighting as a ghost. Both things Sauron could do.
After all, the plague is intended for organic mortal enemies and has never infected a spirit.
Another smaller point for Sauron was his weakness. The Lich King was a clever bastard, but even with the Eye of Icarus, it would have been tough for him to decode and destroy the One Ring. Meanwhile, given enough power,
yeah,
Sauron
like,
would naturally end up
Sauron
destroying
isn't a
Proud
character
Lord.
that you
He's
really,
kinda got a thing
like,
for breaking
see
swords.
outside
So
of,
let's compare their power. While
like,
their
his
highest
eye.
limits are
Like, you
certainly
see him in
nebulous,
his armored
interestingly
form in,
enough,
like,
some of the
flashbacks
most
and stuff.
impressive feats from both worlds
And
involve lifting islands.
the Lich King
As
is,
Sauron
like,
a more powerful Maya than
a,
Osei, and
like,
the Lich
a
King
more
could
of a
reliably defeat
character.
someone with
But you
Gul'dan's
never really
magic.
imagined
It
him,
is
like,
possible to
throwing
gauge the
hands.
difference in power by measuring the islands that were raised.
Keep in mind, Gul'dan had a bunch of help, so we're only giving him his share. Turns out, Osei was doing twice the work.
By examining official maps to determine the volume of the islands, we found a difference between lifting 2 quadrillion tons of rock versus 4 quadrillion tons.
Wow.
Among further energy required to actually lift these through the ocean, of course. Both impressive, sure, but Sauron had the edge.
And for the final nail in
And
the
it's,
coffin,
like,
the Lich King might have been super scary,
comparatively
but he really wasn't
close.
around for all that long.
At least closer than
not
some
when
other
compared
matches
to the
have been.
experience Sauron has warring with the world for thousands of years.
The Lich King certainly posed a threat to Sauron, but the ruler of Mordor's awesome might, enduring spirit, and millennia of treachery proved him the superior Dark Lord.
Wow!
Is that it?
What? Are you sour on the pun? I was pretty Tolkien about it.
No, that
winner
pun's
is
great. I love
Sauron.
that one. Wow.
Hey, if you want more Death Battle ASAP, why not grab a membership? You'll get exclusive emotes, badges, live chat, live streams, and a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. Just click that join button. Thanks for watching.
Oh yeah, next. My Hero Academia, it's Deku versus Asta, which is a strange
This episode of Death Battle is
matchup,
sponsored by
to say the
Mint Mobile.
least.
And BetterHelp.
I feel like they kind of meant for this to be the next generation Naruto versus Ichigo, but I don't know, these two don't really have the
My
same
Hero Academia's super
pedigree.
straight out of UA High.
Asta, the anti-magical ass kicker from Black Clover.
Though you may be born bereft of the same gifts as your peers, there is nothing stopping you from achieving your dreams.
As long as you're a fictional character in a fantasy world. I mean, as long as you've got your friends by your side, you'll pack a hell of a punch. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out
Yeah.
who would win.
Well, I think
a
they
death
did
battle.
this at this point because this was when My Hero
Izuku
Academia was
Midoriya
kind of
wanted
wrapping up.
only one thing from life, to be a
And
beacon of hope, just
if
like
you
his
haven't
idol, the
read
#1
My
ranked
Hero
superhero in
Academia,
Japan, All Might.
Too bad
about
he was
halfway
more a freak
through,
with
Deku
no
starts
powers.
getting some
You heard right.
crazy
This is like a
stuff.
reverse X-Men thing where 80% of the population gets red superpowers, or quirks
They'll-
as they're
they'll-
called,
they'll
while
talk
the
about it.
remaining fifth are stuck as basic bitches, or as his spiky-haired bully Bakugo called him, Deku.
That's a pun on the Japanese word dekunobu, meaning good for nothing.
Persevering despite his basic bitchiness,
Yeah, he is kind of a
Midoriya got
just
the
a
chance
shonen
to
guy,
prove
but
his
he's a good
quirkless
shonen
heroic
guy.
mettle against this giant sludge
My Hero
monster,
Academia is a
much to the
good
surprise of
series.
one
I like
particular
it.
Almighty onlooker.
His body secretly decaying from a horrific injury, All Might needed to find the one who would inherit his all-powerful quirk.
And All Might didn't want just anybody. The hero world was filled with glory seekers in it for fame and money. All Might wanted someone whose body moved on its own to save someone.
He saw exactly that in young Midoriya, and gave him one of the most powerful quirks in the world, one for all.
That was the problem. Even after bulking up from lad to Chad, the recoil from even one punch would shatter all the bones in his arm. So he trained to be able to handle his gift at the superhero school of his dreams, UA High.
And that's when he decided to own the name used as a cudgel against him for so many years. Turns out, Deku can also be an abbreviation for Dekiru, someone who can do anything.
He did become
Exactly
corked
the
up
opposite of
and
Deku
goated with the
Nobu.
sauce.
One for All allows Deku to release absolutely absurd amounts of
So
strength
yeah,
from
he
different
gets
parts of his
a
body,
bunch
with
of
super
stuff
moves named
later.
after US cities and states.
Deku still can't access all of his power safely though. Using 100% will quickly destroy his body, which is why he learned to distribute his strength evenly across his body, a technique known as full cowling. This lets him increase his speed and durability as well, making him more all-rounded and shifting focus to his own interpretation of One for All inspired by his pal Ida, shoot style.
Where he pulls out a Glock and blows your brains out. Okay, not really, but in keeping with One for All's rabbit theme, he trades All Might's signature punches for kicks. My version's better. You ever seen Rabbit vs. Gun? I have, and I know how it plays out.
Considering the much higher muscle mass of a human's legs, shoot style allowed Deku to output even more power while giving his arms a break. A break from a break.
And despite being a classic melee build, Deku can fight at range by punching powerful gusts of air and even precisely aim them with specially designed gloves.
Deku has an encyclopedic knowledge of quirks and is always analyzing their strengths and weaknesses mid-battle, even if he does sound a little weird.
Despite only barely getting accepted in the first place, Deku quickly became one of Class 1A's most dependable fighters. Because, yeah, somehow these students are constantly getting drafted into literal wars against murderous supervillains.
Yup.
Midoriya's successes in battle against ruthless criminals like Stain, Muscular, and Overhaul came much to his old bully's chagrin. Where Bakugo was a child prodigy, he now found himself overshadowed by his hard-working rival, and the two would use their mutual respect and animosity to motivate each other to get stronger.
Classic frenemies. They're only solving their
Yup.
problems by pounding the living tar out of each other.
Luckily for him, Deku soon learned that living tar pounding wasn't the only thing he could do.
And here's the
Turns out,
crazy
One
stuff.
for All did not originate with All Might. It had been passed down 8 times until it arrived at Deku, with each inheritance also carrying the previous user's natural quirk as well.
Like Black Whip, which lets him manifest crazy long and strong energy tendrils to tie enemies up and swing around the city, or shoot one out of his mouth, just like our girl Froppy.
And Danger Sense, which gives him a minor reactive precognition.
AKA, he's Spider-Man. Not even a reach, the mangaka is like the biggest Spidey fan ever.
He can also produce a smoke screen to mask his presence, float in midair, or store kinetic energy over time with Fa Jin.
Like that. By storing up enough, he can even match All Might's max power without any recoil to boot. Strong enough to change the weather and create city block.
I like how they put the time he got punched in the
And
nuts
he's even
as a
stronger
feat.
with his newest quirk, Gear Shift, which allows him to
Oh yeah,
increase
that's
the
when
speed
this
of
was
an
like
object
just
anytime he touches it.
revealed.
In conjunction with the power of All for One, he can use this to warp reality itself. Deku can go toe-to-toe with arch-villains like Shigaraki, who's fast enough to react to and catch laser beams with his bare hands.
But nothing could prepare him for All Might's archenemy, the shadowy leader of the League of Villains, All for One.
All Might only ever showed his young pupil kindness and support, but that couldn't change the absolutely crushing pressure Deku felt at every moment.
Even classically trained dickhead Bakugo came to help his teammate out when he needed it. Like when they teamed up to share One for All and punch an island-sized hole in the clouds 24 miles high.
Just goes to show that even One for All
Oh, yeah.
isn't a one-man
The
army.
movies
Deku's
are
true
canon, I'm
strength
pretty
comes from his
sure.
teamwork between
So-
himself and his friends.
And with their help, Deku will surely become that beacon of hope he dreamt about as a child.
One hero for all mankind. This episode
Sure.
is sponsored by Mint Mobile.
This holiday season, the best
3 months
on phone sync. And
Again,
month
they
Mint
did
Mobile
not know
Plan
how
6
the
will
series would
certainly
end,
get mobile.
and how hard
Magic.
Deku would get clowned on Twitter.
Magic! You know it, you love it, and in the world of Black Clover, it doesn't come from a box you bought at a tacky West Hollywood costume shop. Everyone's got it.
Mana is the source of all magic, a supernatural energy found
Man,
in the air.
talk
and
about a
living
series that,
beings,
like,
except living beings
kind
whose
of
names are
just fell off
Not
the
only
map.
was the young Asta
I
an
never
orphan
hear people
abandoned
talk
by his
about
mother at a
Black
church as a
Clover
baby,
anymore.
He was born with a mutation that prevents him from having any mana to speak of. Well, neither do I, and you don't hear me crying about it.
Yes, you do, all of the time. But Asta had a dream. Despite his lack of magic, he and his best friend Yuno promised each other one of them would rise to the throne of the greatest military position in the land, the Wizard King. Wizard King? Really, guys? Sometimes they call it Magic Emperor, but we all know what they mean.
So he dedicated himself to getting swole as all hell in a world of nerds. He would be its lone jock god, shoving every last wizard into a locker until they crowned him king.
But huge, frightening pectorals on a tiny, screaming goblin child weren't enough on its own. He needed something powerful enough to shut down his opponent's magic.
He needed the five-leaf clover grimoire.
Essentially a book of spells, a grimoire will choose its user and float beside their wielder at all times.
And Asta was lucky enough to receive the Uno reverse card of grimoires. The five-leaf clover can harness the power of anti-magic, which will literally nullify the effects of other magic spells. Almost like wizard kryptonite. Let the locker stuffing commence. Haha, get nerds!
It wasn't long before Asta was accepted into one of the 9 squads of Clover Kingdom's Magic Knights, the Black Bulls, filled with lazy drunkards, antisocial otakus, and literal sociopaths.
My kind of people! Mostly. But
The
much
squad.
Like with Asta, you
Every
shouldn't
squad
judge a
got the-
grimoire by its cover. And soon they were all working together and kicking ass like a family should.
Asta harnesses the power of anti-magic by summoning swords imbued with it from the grimoire. Normally, these swords would quickly drain the mana from anyone foolish enough to wield them, but Asta does not have any mana, turning his greatest weakness into a one-of-a-kind strength.
He's got his classic Demon Slayer, an enormous greatsword which cuts through spells with its edge and deflects them with its flat. Or the Demon Dweller, which can also absorb and copy magic, then toss it right back to sender.
I think my personal favorite is the more complex Demon Destroyer, which severs the relationship between a spell's cause and effect, countering the effects of its magic. This could result in anything from healing a village that was inflicted with poison to preventing reincarnation.
Yeah, okay, some of these can get a little heady. I personally prefer keeping it simple, like using anti-magic telekinesis to surf on your sword through the sky.
It's worth noting that these swords are made specifically for countering magical attacks and sources of mana. The swords will act as though blunted when striking non-magical foes, more akin to giant clubs than actual blades. Not entirely inconsistent.
I mean, that
with
still
real-life
sounds like it would
But
hurt,
none of
though.
that's even close to as cool as his deadliest sword, the Demon Slasher, a katana as black as the pits of hell and twice as badass.
This one actually does cut like a sword, but it's complicated. It lets Asta actually select what he does and does not want to cut, only affecting his target while leaving anything else unharmed.
Okay, at this point, isn't that just magic?
Magic with a loophole.
And he's studied the blade long enough to become a master swordsman to boot. Not in the real life sense, in the anime sense.
He can spin himself like a tornado to deflect magic spells, thrust forward at top speed like a charging bull, launch a barrage of anti-magic projectiles, and even channel anti-magic into his swords to vastly increase their size.
Well, while he may be no good with mana, he has learned to detect ki. Because of course.
The
What?
life force existing in all things, Asta can detect hidden opponents and even predict their movements ahead of time, as long as he's fast enough to react.
With such crazy powers, Asta was taking on threats like the Eye of the Midnight Sun, the Devil Zagrid, and the Dark Triad. So many nerds, never enough lockers. Too bad for Asta though, he had one serious inner demon.
Literally, housed within the five-leaf clover grimoire was Liba, a demon exiled from hell for completely lacking magical powers, and who just so happened to get adopted by Asta's mother.
Until he got possessed by a different demon and killed her. Vowing
What the
vengeance on
fuck?
all demonkind, Liba manifested anti-magic from his hatred as a way to kick their asses. Which gave him and Asta a lot of common ground, despite the whole, mom murder thing.
In fact, the two became true brothers and formed an unstoppable duo. Liba can actually fully merge with Asta for a massive power boost that lasts up to 5 minutes, at the cost of leaving Asta nearly powerless for the next half hour.
Come on, I want it. Yeah, I'll take it if I get to be strong enough to slice buildings to pieces, obliterate huge chunks of earth, and tear the most powerful demons apart. Give me the goddamn book.
I'm the book boy, okay?
Oh my
Even
god.
characters earlier in the series like Patoli
I'm
had
the
magic
video
capable of
game
completely
boy.
vaporizing
I'm the
the
one who
entire Clover Kingdom in a
wins.
single attack.
And demons that Asta has fought since then, like Dante and Lucifero, are leagues
Dorks,
stronger.
yeah.
Hell, screw all these demon forms and anti-magic powers. Asta's body is so incredibly well trained, he dodged a beam of light while sleeping. As in, he was asleep, and the force of his sneeze pushed his head out of the way of a beam of light.
Okay.
Light speed sneezes, everyone.
And despite his headstrong and irritating personality,
AKA screaming at the top of his lungs as often as possible.
Asta is an intelligent fighter who has leveraged his skill against far more experienced foes.
But he wouldn't be anywhere without the ragtag band of deviants he calls friends. With them at his side, there's no way he won't climb the ranks to take the Wizard King's throne. Especially with Yuno pushing them both to get stronger.
I think this
Unlike
series
other
has
classic shonen rivalries,
switched to
this
like
one isn't tainted by
monthly
antagonists. They truly
publication.
want what's best
I don't know,
for each
Black
other,
Clover's in
even
a
if
weird
they're competing
spot.
for the same throne.
Yuno's gonna need all the luck he can get, cause even if Asta never gets mana of his own,
let me
his
look that
true
up real
magic
quick.
is never given up.
This episode is sponsored by Better. That's not the mind life.
Sessions
Well, then in each. All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all.
Yeah, it's in
possibilities.
Jump Giga
It's
right
time
now.
for a death battle!
Anyway, fight time.
Sword that big? He's gotta be crazy strong. I'm gonna have to rely on more than just my power to take him down.
Just gotta hit him really hard. Man, this guy can give even Luck a run for his money.
Aren't swords supposed to be sharp? His speed isn't slowed by his sword's weight at all. Gotta hamper his movements and get that book out of his hands. Huh? He found me! Now it's my turn!
Wait! Are you not using magic?
Oh my god.
What kind of magic emperor would I be if I can't beat a guy like this? Detroit Smash! Detroit Smash! Detroit Smash!
Oh. Just you wait.
I don't know what Detroit is, but I've had enough of it. I'm ending this quick!
God, it's so dumb.
Hit me with all you've got, because I'm never going down!
Get back here. We're not done. Sometimes you make Daddy so angry.
No use not going all out anymore. I just gotta hit him really hard.
You wanted my best? Here it is! 1,000,000,000%! Plus Ultra!
I did it.
Take that.
So I have very mixed feelings about this one. On the one hand, I feel this is kind of a mismatch. I mean, yeah, like the shonen guys. But also, like, they don't really have much similar in terms of ability. Yeah, I mean, some people do have problems with how they characterize Asta in this, especially how they, like, talk about him being, like, annoying and screaming in the rundown. When that's more of, like, Asta very early on, when by this point he had developed much more as a character. And also, like, there's some weird stuff in the fight animation. Like, their final clash sends them shooting down, but then it shows Asta then falling to the ground and Deku's still up in the air. And Deku's, like, eyes going white at the end is, the animators have said that's him dying after that big punch. But then Asta stabs him anyway. This is a strange one. I don't hate it, but there's a lot weird with it. Oh yeah, also this is a total stomp. Like, when they announced this, everyone was like, oh my god, Deku's getting turned into paste. Oh yeah, the effects work was nice.
Asta was also quicker. Sure, scaling to Shigaraki would give Deku roughly light speed reaction time, but Asta could dodge light.
Swords are better than punches and kicks. Remember, kids.
Even before transforming with Liba to get way faster.
And since Deku and Asta's precognitive abilities more or less matched each other, it was only a matter of time before Asta simply overwhelmed him.
Especially since Deku has struggled in the past against faster opponents. Sure, Deku was smarter, but if he literally didn't have enough time to come up with a plan of attack before getting hammered,
he's still, like, hitting him with a big thing.
Harem-scarum tenacity definitely gave his opponent a run for his money, but Asta's raw power, blinding speed, and deadlier weaponry spelled the end for All Might's pupil.
Deku gave it his all, and I wish he had won. Hasta la vista.
The winner is Asta.
Anyway, yeah.
Hey, if you want more,
so that was Deku versus Asta, and next is the Season 9 season finale.
Just click that join button. Thanks for watching.
Which is... Vegito versus Gogeta. They have not done one of these, like, same series, like a character from the series versus another one, since I think the Mega Man Battle Royale. I think that was the last time they did one. But this is an interesting matchup.
Last one! Man, these things are so easy to find nowadays.
Yes! Now, with this ultimate power, I can finally conquer the world!
Gogeta fight Vegito!
What?
Oh, come on! It's the ultimate Dragon Ball question! Which fusion of Goku and Vegeta is stronger? Gogeta, the combo greater than legends, or Vegito, the mix who surpassed gods?
Intriguing. They are in many ways identical, yet still quite different. Though in canon, they only have a collective total of 3 brief appearances. To truly determine who would win, let's examine all of their material.
So that's Z, GT, Super, movies, games, guidebooks, Toei's Twitter, even all the crazy Xenoverse and Hero stuff.
Yep, we're going into expanded universe Dragon Ball again. Hold on to your pants.
Armor and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Imagine it's 1995 and you're at a movie theater in Japan. You're there to watch Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn.
Good movie, by the way.
Be the most radical
for a Dragon Ball
dude.
movie.
I mean, yeah, it was a little weird when Adolf showed up, but then
that also happens in it.
Goku and Vegeta
Hitler shows up and it's very funny.
Only one option left. They merged into a single being of amazing power, Gogeta! And that would be the greatest thing 8-year-old you ever saw. Yep, You peaked at 8.
Fun fact, while Vegito had already debuted in the manga 2 months earlier, Gogeta was created first. After all, the movie had been in production throughout the previous year.
Two Saiyans, the proud son of royalty and the lower class champion becoming one epic powerhouse? This is
Yeah,
the
he does
true
only have
potential
one
of Goku
canon
and
appearance
Vegeta. Easily
in
a top
Super.
5 Dragon Ball moment. Hey, nothing beats the first time we saw Super Saiyan, but I think this comes close.
This method of fusion was taught to Goku by the Metamorans, a mysterious alien people who we never actually see.
But I'd guess they like wearing crop tops with inflatable shoulder pads. Anyway, when Goku taught this fabled technique to Goten and Trunks, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
This is the fusion dance. On top of an incredibly precise movement routine, this technique requires both parties to match power levels in order to fuse successfully. A literal personification of the phrase, only as strong as the weakest link.
It's pretty easy to screw up, trust me. But if you nail it, you're the baddest mother effer on the planet.
Though not part of mainline canon, Goku and Vegeta first used this to battle Janemba, a demon basically composed of essence of evil. Probably smells like cats. Gogeta defeated him in less than 2 minutes. 20 years later, Gogeta would become canon to conquer one of the most dangerous entities in the multiverse, Broly.
Obviously, Gogeta's super powerful.
Also a
but
good
I think
movie.
his most underappreciated
And is actually
skill
like a
is how he comes up with
full-length
awesome
movie.
attack names. Like the Big Bang Kamehameha, Stardust Fall, Meteor Explosion, and the ultimate villain killer, Stardust Breaker.
A fancy-looking attack that completely obliterates all traces of evil within a target.
That's how it took out Janemba in one shot. The guy was
Gogeta.
literally
He sounds
made
like
of
a
evil.
Taco Bell
Yeah.
menu item.
Weirdly enough, this is similar to Devilman's
Gogeta.
Devil Might Beam, which causes the evil within a person to explode and...
Oh, you mean Spike? That guy's hilarious. Which obscure character are you gonna reference next? Icarus? Sour Man? General Rildo? Oh man, that guy's just one letter off from General Dill.
Over the years, Gogeta has achieved the
Funny,
empowered
I
forms
laughed.
of Super Saiyan Blue, and even Super Saiyan 4 in his battle against Omega Shenron.
Super Saiyan 4 is a totally unique branch of transformation. Instead of using Divine Ki like Super Saiyan God, it taps further into Goku and Vegeta's Saiyan bloodline, giving them fuzzy red fur and teen goth eyeshadow.
Goku has also claimed this form increases a Saiyan's inherent aggression, though you wouldn't know it with Gogeta. He basically becomes Dragon Ball's Bugs Bunny, reveling and messing around with his foe any way he can.
Until the fusion runs out. That's right, the fusion dance has a time limit of 30 minutes. This can be reduced even more if Gogeta uses up a lot of energy. Against Omega Shenron in GT, he's split apart after about 10 minutes.
Just more evidence that the amount of power Gogeta possesses is enormous. Even repeatedly striking Broly so hard that the boundaries between dimensions shattered like glass
Again,
wasn't enough to
cool
burn his
movie.
time. Hell, he was only in Super Saiyan 1 when he did that. After going blue, Broly didn't stand a chance. Based on earlier in the film, Whis' reaction even implies that Gogeta could possibly take on Beerus.
In Dragon Ball Heroes, Gogeta continues to prove he's one of the multiverse's S-tier fighters. He even defeated the Crimson Masked Super Saiyan Rose Full Power Goku Black and Ultimate
Okay.
God Slayer Hearts the God Hater. You know, those guys.
And 2 Gogetas together could take on Fu.
Just Fu? After all that, he's just called Fu?
Dark King Fu, the artificial bio-android demon mutant. He has
Awesome.
Majin and Eternal Dragon DNA.
Is this fan fiction?
Hearts the God
Kind of.
Finder claimed Fu could become an entity akin to Zeno, that little blue baby who can erase a multiverse with a thought.
But these Gogetas achieved even stronger forms than before. One was in Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, the boosted form Vegeta achieved during the Tournament of Power. The other was Super Saiyan 4.
Goku
Not just any
Vegeta.
Super Saiyan 4, he was Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker. I think my tongue is permanently twisted now.
These 2 forms fighting side by side implies that, at least in this iteration, both are similar if not equal in power.
Gogeta's so cool. And there are tons of people who think he'd win this matchup.
In Weekly Jump issue 28 from 1995, the fusion dance was stated to unify Goku and Vegeta's spirits and draw out their power to the max. As long as a fight with Vegeta lasts less than 30 minutes, the magazine says Gogeta should win.
And then in the video game Raging Blast, there's a what-if scenario scenario where Gogeta beats Vegito in a sparring session, but he was about to run out of energy, so maybe it could have gone either way.
Though with his power and skill, it's
I also like how they
push Gogeta to his
talk
limits.
about
Two of the greatest warriors
the
in
history of the
merged together
matchup
as one.
and
What
how
more could you want as a fan?
some official
What more
sources
could you
have
fear
discussed it.
as a foe?
Go 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 go
It's the
go go
spring
go.
of 1995. A
Man,
demonic
when's he
menace has
getting on
threatened
Death
to
Battle?
consume the world in chaos. Goku
That would
and
be
Vegeta
fun.
were pushed to the brink with only one option left: fusion. They used one of their most incredible techniques to become a merged being of unimaginable power. Does this sound familiar?
But there wasn't time to teach Vegeta an awkward dance routine he'd ultimately despise. Instead, they used the Potara.
Only the gods themselves could rock bling like this. That's right, the Potara earrings come from the Kais, the gods that supervise the universes.
By placing one earring on each person's opposite ear, the Potara forcibly fuses the two beings together, no power level matching required. In this case, Goku and Vegeta fuse to become Vegito.
Okay, seriously, Vegito? Couldn't they have a better name?
It's not that bad. And remember, Fusion Reborn started production well before Toriyama penned Vegito's first appearance.
So, Toei called dibs on the better name, huh? But still, shouldn't it be like Vegiko? Not like that's much better either. Why Vegito?
It makes more sense in Japanese. Vegito is formed from the first half of Vegeta and the latter half of Kakaroto. This is why Viz Media actually translated it to Vegerot.
Oh, that one sucks too. Okay, bored now. Let's talk about how he blows shit up real good.
Vegito has
That's
numerous techniques
that's a
that are
neat
entirely his
factoid.
own, many of which are fittingly perfect combinations of Goku
And
and
it does
Vegeta's
sound better
signature
than
moves,
Vegerot.
such as the final Kamehameha. Formed like Vegeta's final
Vegerot.
flash, but fired like Goku's Kamehameha wave. He's got a Spirit Sword, the Saiyan Shield, and the Banshee Blast. Which, no, it's not the ghost attack you're thinking of.
With Goku and Vegeta's powers combined, Majin Buu was no match. Super Vegito was so friggin' powerful that even being turned into candy didn't slow him down. It just made him delicious.
His level of power had transcended to such an impressive degree
God, I love
that he
Dragon
was capable
Ball.
of effectively ignoring having his matter entirely altered and his DNA eradicated. He continued on as the incredible fighting candy.
No mouth, no brains, no organs of any kind, and he still kept slapping around that big pink ass.
Phrasing. Presumably, this is similar to how Vegeta overpowered Babidi's mind control, or how Goku broke through Hit's time skip with Kaioken. A greater power level can overrule basically anything a weaker one does. Though, to be fair, the Super Candy is a pretty extreme example.
But Vegito's a pretty extreme guy, even for the Dragon Ball multiverse. He later got that godly blue hairspray and beat the crap out of merged Zamasu, a double deity. Like a fusion dick measuring contest, but not at all close.
Though similar to his dancing counterpart, Vegito's time ran out after he overtaxed himself.
Which was kinda weird. Back in the day, they said these Potara fusions were permanent. Turns out it's only permanent for Supreme Kais. Vegito's form can last up to 1 hour before splitting apart, but can be shortened severely if he goes full tilt. In the manga, Vegito formed after Zamasu fused, and split apart when they expected fused Zamasu to have 20 minutes left, meaning he cut his time down to 40 minutes at most, though in the anime it was way less since he tried to quickly overpower Zamasu with a single attack.
The Potara have their own set of rules. Unlike the fusion dance, this form is maintained by the power of the earrings, not the fusers themselves. As such, destroying the earrings ends the fusion.
And if you slap the Potara on while in a Super Saiyan form, you can't power down while fused. So if Goku and Vegeta aren't careful, they can find themselves draining power when they don't need to. But
Lord.
surprise, Vegito's got into his own Super Dragon Ball Hero shenanigans, and he's got the full power Red Fur 2. Look, Wiz, I think I'm having deja vu.
Aside from Fu, he's battled heavy-hitting threats to the multiverse like Cumber and Mechikabura.
And just like with
Cumber.
Gogeta, there's plenty of people who think Vegeta would win this fight.
Daizenshus 4
You
and 7,
snubber,
basically
a
two Dragon Ball
Cumber.
encyclopedias, claim that the Potara fusion is superior to the fusion dance.
Old Kai said this too, that the Potara provide a greater effect.
Though they both may be referring to what was believed at the time to be a permanent fusion. Not having to worry about overspending your time limit would certainly be a greater effect if it were true.
But hey, there's nothing that can get in the way of Vegito's awesome power. Gods and demons alike are no match. When there's no one strong enough to save the day, then perhaps two will do.
This show is
If you find yourself fused with someone, consider seeking therapy with BetterHelp.
For all possibilities. Hear my wish, Eternal Dragon. It's time for a death battle!
I love how they frame this as
What is this madness? Whoa, Vegeta! Am I really that much taller than you?
Stuff it, Kakarot!
as Wiz and Boomstick like wishing for the fight to happen.
You... Shun...
Not bad. Want to kick it up a notch? Sure. But how about some variety?
Yeah, Super Saiyan 4.
My turn.
This episode's just one big like love letter to Dragon Ball. So going through all these locations.
Gotcha. Guess it's now or never.
Oh man, that was
Well-
epic! Totally worth the wish. Oh, I guess we probably could have solved a lot of world problems with that.
I suppose world domination can wait another year. This fight was incredibly close.
So yeah, this is a
Seriously, how could it not be? They're almost exactly the same
interesting
With a few
one.
minor differences here
I've
and
seen
there,
people
like
like
signature attacks.
for
Neither
other
Vegito
people's
nor Gogeta
rankings
had
of the
one
episodes in
single
this
power that
season.
provided an
I've seen
absolute
people
edge
place
over the
this
other.
episode like
Except
all
perhaps
over,
Vegito's longer
everywhere from
time
like
limit, though it's not
the
so cut.
like
Both
very
have overtaxed
bottom
energy
of the
quick enough to
season
end
to
their
the very
fusions in less
top.
than 10 minutes. Time isn't the only factor,
I
but also
kind of
factors
like it.
maintaining
It's not
each
my
fusion,
favorite,
Gogeta's body and
but
Vegito's
it's
earrings.
like
It's
I mean
possible
it's
Vegito's
cool.
power can actually drain the
Like,
Potara faster than
It's
Gogeta
just
does his
it's
own
literally
body.
just a big
Still,
Dragon
it's
Ball
twice
fight.
the
How can you
time,
not
and
love
that
it?
definitely gave Vegeta more flexibility and strategy. So more often than not, it's safe to say Gogeta would run out of juice first.
Also, when
It
Vegeta
does
or
like
Gogeta
kind of
gets
suck that
used
it's
from power overuse, it's typically
like there's
difficult
not
for
as
them
many
to
like
immediately
interesting
fuse again due to
like
that lack of energy.
But Vegito had another one over Gogeta. No
not as
matter
many like
what,
interesting
he always
powers
have a very
or
slight
like
power advantage.
ways that powers
Remember how
bounce
the
off
fusion
of each
dance
other
requires the
being
fusers to
shown.
match their power levels? Well, the Potara don't need that.
Goku doesn't
But, you know,
match Vegeta's
it's
slightly
whatever.
lower power levels, so there's nothing stopping Vegito from combining the full sum of their parts.
Yeah.
Ah, poor Vegeta. You'll get your day in the sun one day, buddy. Oh, who am I kidding?
This might be what Old Kai was referring to when he said the Potara had a greater effect.
But hey, could
Oh,
Gogeta
yeah,
have
totally.
destroyed the earrings? Nope. He would have had to be able to overpower Vegito first, like how Goku could only destroy Kefla's earrings after he reached Ultra Instinct.
Remember, when comparing levels of power in Dragon Ball, the greater one can overrule almost anything the weaker one does. The earrings likely tend to
Like,
be
remember
key aura.
the season 1, like, Vegeta versus Shadow? Like, this is night and day.
Targeted are when the wearer is overwhelmed or in a vulnerable state. If any stray Ki blast could destroy them, we'd have a lot more broken earrings by now.
Lastly, there's some debate over their personalities. In their first appearances, Vegito seemed rather cocky and playful against Buu, whereas Gogeta was far more deliberate against Janemba, and thus far more successful. However, these are not core personality traits, and assuming so would be inconsistent with Vegito's serious fight with Zamasu and Gogeta's more brash fights with Broly and Omega Shenron. Context is key. As far as personality and mental ability goes, Gogeta and Vegito are practically identical. In the end, Vegito's higher power level, no matter how slight it was, made a big difference in protecting and maintaining his longer, more flexible time limit.
Gogeta was gonna need meta more than that to beat Vegito. Sorry, Wiz, I know that pun was potarible.
Wait, shut up. Earth's Dragon Balls give 2 wishes, right?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Shenron, I wish for you to fuse me and Wiz.
No!
The winner is Vegito.
And we don't even get to see the Whiz and Boomstick fusion. Worst episode. That was like the one thing that they had to do for this one.
We've got a bunch of new stuff in the works.
But yeah, that's season 9. Pretty good all around. I think I like season 8 a little more. But so they're showing off So for season 10, what they did was they did like a poll where fans could vote for what matchups for season 10 they wanted. And the 2 winners, the one for the 2D battle was voted in as Bill Cipher versus Discord, and the 3D battle was Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer. So we have those to look forward to for season 10, but not for a while. First, we're going to check out the first episode of season 10, and it's Adam versus Ant-Man. You know, you gotta put the Marvel versus DC stuff in there. Gotta just get it out of the way.
Ant-Man, Marvel's founding member of the Avengers.
The Atom, DC's legendary Mighty Might.
Good things come in small packages.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
We're just trying to get these out of the way.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor,
yeah,
and
exactly.
skills to find out who would win a death battle.
By the way, season 10, while we're here, season 10 as a whole,
you know that ants can lift 50 times
is
their own
awesome.
body weight?
I think it's the best season by far.
Thanks to my fun fact of the day calendar. Also, pizza
like
was invented in Canada yesterday.
Well,
I'd say that half of the episodes in this, in season 10, are potential 10 out of 10s. There's fantastic stuff.
Both his parents combined.
He eventually majored in biochemistry.
This isn't one of them, but we'll see.
He had ideas about shrinking the size of cargo to reduce shipping costs. Logistics.
All of which made him a laughingstock in the scientific community and sparked a long-lasting insecurity and need to prove himself.
Oh yeah.
He did it. He developed a working
serum. They have some like big episodes. This one.
Right behind Bean and Life.
So naturally, he tested the serum on himself, like any self-respecting scientist
just
would,
dump it on him.
Shrank down to the size of an ant.
And just when things started going south, a sweet little ant, let's call her Aunt Hathaway, swooped in and led Hank safely back to his lab where he could return to full size.
Hank then harnessed the serum and became the superhero Ant-Man. Along with his new identity came a fascination in entomology, which makes total sense. Ants are fascinating.
Did you know that ants can talk to each other in a bunch of different ways? Through touch, sound, or even sharing information by barfing at each other.
It's actually called trophallaxis, and they're not barfing per se. It's more like passing.
I hope he has the move where he
mouth.
just casually drops a
Hank
test
figured
tube
out
on the
how to
ground.
communicate with his new pets, not by barfing, but by creating a cybernetic helmet that mirrors an ant's antenna. And he's even developed genuine relationships with some ants, like Ulysses' ant here.
But he didn't stop there. Hank developed a lot of amazing tech like a stinger pistol that focuses his bioenergy into a stun beam, and image-inducing camouflage to mask himself as an ant. It worked so well it fooled Reed Richards, the smartest guy on the planet.
He also built a suit that runs on that nifty serum he made back in his lab. It lets him shrink thanks to the newly discovered PIM particles, named after himself. Ah, classic Hank.
And the PIM particle is
Yeah.
the key to unlocking the fundamental concepts of
Scaling.
the quantum mechanics at play here. They enable you to decrease the distance between atoms. However, in order to do that, he'd have to change the Bohr radius, the ratio of electron mass to the distance the electrons orbit an atom's nucleus.
Well, of course. Like how when you make a bagel pizza, you can't fit the whole pizza on the bagel. Believe me, I've tried. It's too small. You just gotta put less on.
Yeah, and
Sure, Boomstick. So
like,
the PIM particles are actually
there is
displacing
some,
mass to an alternate dimension.
at the very
in order
least,
to
there's like
maintain that
fun
ratio.
stuff they can do with the
It's
fight
like
here,
having a
right?
second bagel to put the rest of your pizza
Since
on.
they can,
I get it.
you know,
But if that were
change
true,
size
he
to
shouldn't be able
change
punch
the
with full-size
arena.
strength if he has less mass.
And he's definitely lighter, because otherwise he'd crush the sweet antsy rides like Vincent Van Gogh here.
His mass is being replaced with massless neutrinos, but that doesn't adequately explain how he can have less mass and seemingly more mass at the same time.
Sure it does, Wiz. Trust Pim and his particles. Look at the guy. He's explaining the whole thing while wearing a lab coat. What's more trustworthy than that? You're the exception.
You think you understand this?
Oh, of course. He's small but strong. You said something about a boar, so I guess you wanted ham on that pizza, but I already made the pizza.
Will you take that coat off?
No. Oh.
Regardless, there is virtually no limit to Hank's ability to shrink. He can go beyond subatomic down to the underspace, a plane of existence below all realities in the Marvel Universe.
And Hank has literally changed his biology. He's rewritten his own chemical makeup to prevent anyone else from changing his size. And he's used PIM particles so much, he's now got an energy field around
Yeah,
him that lets
and it's
him change
it's
the
safe
size
to
of
say that
people or
like
objects
the
on the
editing
fly.
is
Or
on
torture by
point.
straight up firing PIM particles in the air.
He's never shy about using them either. He eventually supplied his wife, Janet Van Dyne, with some PIM tech to become the Wasp, his partner in crime fighting.
The two ended up rubbing shoulders with A-listers like Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk to take down Loki. Ant-Man and the Wasp were actually the ones that captured him and pitched the idea of forming the Avengers.
Unfortunately, Hank's insecurities started to creep back in, and he felt that if he wanted to keep up with the big heroes, he was going to have to think bigger.
Enter a bunch of those PIM-powered alter egos like Yellow Jacket and Giant Man, where he can grow anywhere from 12 feet tall to so big he can enter the overspace, the polar opposite of the underspace.
There he met a
Yeah, I like
Eternity,
seeing the
who
ones
called
from
him
like the
Earth's scientist
60s.
supreme.
It's fun.
Something he won't let you forget.
Hank pushed himself to these insane heights even though he knew the strain on his body could be fatal.
But he simply didn't care and kept pushing himself. Thus, his greatest and worst creation was born, Ultron.
Yep, all the Tin Man Tron was created by Hank, not Tony like the movies. But the mass murder butt thing turned out pretty much the same. Big swing and a miss there.
The fallout from Ultron left Hank in a bad place, to say the least. His guilt made him feel like an utter failure, and that his best work was behind him. This led Hank to do unspeakable things.
A real low-life move. And even though poor mental health doesn't excuse this behavior, it was clear that Hank needed help. He suffered multiple mental breakdowns, endured the physical toll of the PIM particles, and had bipolar disorder that went undiagnosed for years.
So Hank finally did the best thing he could. He acknowledged his problems, got the help he needed, and committed to self-improvement.
And with that help, Hank slowly
Something
started
was
making
bugging him.
things
Come
right.
on, man.
The West Coast Avengers gave Scott Lang his blessing to become the second Ant-Man, and finally defeated Ultron.
He created a backdoor Trojan infiltration code to defeat Ultron that was so advanced, it went on to replicate and evolve all on its own to create a new species made up of artificial intelligence.
They don't call him the god of modern AI for nothing. Hank has showed over and over
Damn.
again that he's an integral part of the Marvel Universe.
Not just by ways of his scientific contributions or victories in battle, but by proving that heroes come in all shapes and sizes. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
It can be easy to spend
If you're
all
like
your time
Hank
on your
Pym
work, your friends,
and
your
need
family,
some
but how
and
much
are having
time
a
do you
mental
actually
breakdown,
spend on yourself?
consider BetterHelp.
To yours.
And more balance.
Actually, I'm pretty sure BetterHelp's like
Ray
fraudulent,
Palmer was born
so
your
actually
average human
maybe
sized
don't do
person.
that.
He grew up in the Northeast, studied physics at Ivy University, and did everything Mama and Papa Palmer told him to do. Probably.
Everything was pretty typical for Ray until one fateful night when he took a walk to take his
Walking.
mind off a frustrating experiment and saw a meteor fall from the sky.
He ran off to the crash and found himself a life-changing piece of a white dwarf star, and immediately started messing around with it. Who wouldn't?
That doesn't
He
seem like
discovered that he could
that
focus
would
ultraviolet
work.
rays through it and shrink inanimate objects. There was just one problem. When he shrunk things, they exploded. Every time.
I do not see the problem. Sounds like he found a foolproof way of blowing stuff up. Case closed.
Ray was determined to figure out how to shrink objects without blowing them up. But first, he went on a hike with his nature club. And as a fellow scientist, I have to question his priorities.
But hey, it seems to work for him. I support it. Different hikes for different mics, am I right?
While in a cave, the ceiling suddenly
Rooster
collapsed,
teeth.
trapping everyone inside. After searching high and low for another exit, Ray found a small opening and had an idea. He could try to shrink himself down and get help, even if it meant he might explode before he got the chance.
But he didn't explode. I hope this story has a happy ending at least.
Perplexed, Ray determined there must have been something special about him that made him uniquely immune to the explosive fate. Something super scientifically convenient that we never
Found
get
the
any
bug
more
was told
information
he's all the
on.
sound
He got
stones
to
or
work and
whatever.
created himself a suit to harness the power of the white dwarf star and became the Atom.
Adam uses the white dwarf fragment to decrease his size while having control over his density, which makes a lot of sense considering that white dwarfs have the mass of a star, like the sun, but their volume is more like the Earth's, making them among the densest objects in space.
Just a teaspoon of the stuff could weigh up to 100 tons. That's one strong spoon.
When Adam shrinks and shifts his weight, he's actually sending his extra
So how
mass to a
heavy is-
dimension called the mass zone.
Where Adam could maybe live forever. At one
How-
point,
how
Ray's
heavy's the
apprentice,
fragment
Ryan
that
Choi,
Ray
was
has?
murdered by Deathstroke, but willed some of his mass to the mass zone and was able to survive in that dimension. So these guys can potentially cheat death, but would be stuck there without any outside help.
But from one scientist to another, what's most impressive is Ray's creation of the Bio Belt. That's what allows Adam to use the power of the white dwarf and shrink while maintaining any weight, from immaterial to his full 180 pounds. There's even been times where it's stated that he was able to become almost as dense as a white dwarf star itself for a few seconds.
The belt is also how he can travel through phone lines or through the air, on currents or light beams. Over time, Ray has spread out the white dwarf power to other parts of his suit, and now the bio belt acts as a utility belt for his shrunken weapons and tech. It also prevents his size or mass from being altered by any outside forces.
And while he can only increase his size back to his natural 6 feet in height, his ability to shrink is near limitless. He can travel between subatomic space to the microverse, the foundation of all reality in the DC universe, where atoms become the size of planets.
Typically, he can increase back to his normal size with such force he can smash through diamonds. So if Adam increases his size too much while still within the microverse, he could blow up the entire fabric of reality from the inside out.
Oh,
Shrinking down to
okay.
that size means that he can shrink small enough to rearrange atoms themselves.
Yep, Ray can take individual molecules and rapidly expand them to cook up a small nuclear blast in the palm of his hand. Oh, Ray Palmer. I just got that.
He also once disarmed a bomb by rearranging its atoms. At that size, he can move at the velocity of light. So fast and so randomly, he basically acted as a barrier between any and all possible atom combinations. But come on, there's no scientific explanation here for him to have superhuman senses or awareness to comprehend being everywhere at the same time.
It makes total
Yeah,
sense.
kind of.
If you're small enough, you can fit in almost everything, everywhere, all at once. Like how you can fit an entire pizza into a calzone, and then you have a whole pizza everywhere inside the calzone. Man, I get it. Science is pizza.
No! Science is all I have! Why are you doing this to me?
On top of all of Ray's amazing
Poor
inventions
Wiz.
and abilities, he's also got some more classic weapons, like a laser blaster and a frickin' sword he used to fight a giant crocodile. Relative to his size.
That was when Ray was believed to be dead, but was actually just stuck at 6 inches tall and stranded in the Amazon rainforest, where he encountered an alien race known as the Catarthans.
And get this, he ended up leading a rebellion against their tyrant king and became the ruler of all the Kardashians.
And his heroism didn't stop there. The Atom was a very well-respected hero and was even asked to join the Justice League of America shortly after it was formed.
He fought alongside Batman and his best bud, Hawkman. And you don't fight with those guys without picking up a thing or two.
Impressive combat skills aside, Atom's greatest contribution to the
Wiz
legendary team was
does
always
think
his
pizza's
incredible
cringe.
mind.
He once created kryptonite inside of Superman by realizing that if he gathered up enough Kryptonian protons, they would eventually become radioactive.
While stranded in limbo, Atom realized that if the Flash sped up the rate of a nuclear reaction's stellar evolution to exhaust its core, they could turn a fire demon into a black hole and use it as a wormhole to get back to Earth.
He's a brilliant, hard-working,
Holy
and
shit.
determined scientist that never stops
This
working
dude's a
on a problem until he's
nerd.
found a solution. I mean, if I figured out how to blow stuff up as well as he did, I would have stopped right there. I'm the hero that blows stuff up. Wouldn't even need to change my name.
Ray Palmer lived the dream, going from research scientist to legendary superhero. He picked up the pieces presented to him and built something greater than the sum of its parts.
Who knew this tiny titan with massive brains would have just as much brawn to back it up?
I don't care about Mint Mobile.
All right.
Anyway, small guy fight. Whee!
You should pick on someone your own size, relatively speaking.
How did you do this? It's laced with a particle I've never seen before.
They're called Pym particles, and I'm Hank Pym, Scientist Supreme. You should have knocked.
So yeah, immediately showing the potential for cool, like, set pieces for this fight.
You're using pieces of a white dwarf star? That's cute.
Everything we needed already existed. You just needed to be smart enough to put the pieces together. Scientist Supreme?
Did you know that at any given moment, there are about 2.5 million ants under your feet?
I mean, that makes sense, but why are you bringing that up right now?
Yeah, look at him, he's fighting ants with a sword.
Took you long enough. Okay, let's try this.
Car.
I'll hack his belt. You lay low and let me know what you find.
Yes, queen.
Nice try. If I search every electron path in his gun and study their probability wave functions, I just might be able to.
The Microverse.
What's happening? He must be reaching his limit. If we don't get out of here quick, he's gonna destroy all of reality. Now, my pets! You have your tricks and your tools, but I created something beyond the limits of human existence. I operate on a scale you can't even comprehend.
How?
You can't be afraid to think big.
Oh yeah, brutal death incoming. Yeah,
Ant-Man
so
and Atom both had many
that's
answers
a
to each other's abilities and
great
arsenals.
episode.
Both were able to store various weapons at a shrunken state. Both were
It's
trained
like
in judo,
animation's
and they
really
both could
good,
obviously
sprite
keep up
work
with
was
each other's
great.
ability to
Yeah,
shoot
it's got a
down
lot of charm.
Though there was one
And
small
this is
thing
one of
Adam
the
couldn't answer to.
weaker
The
outings
ants.
in the
Hank's
season.
bond with his pets lent him some small advantages, and Ray just didn't have enough anti-ant tools in his bio belt.
But in Adam's defense, the fact that he could punch with a fist packed with all of his mass meant that a close-up fight, while small, would leave Hank with few options since he can only punch with his normal human strength.
Even still, all Ant-Man would need to do is keep his ants with the help of his insect confidence and devise another plan of ant-tack. Something Hank has no shortage of.
For instance, Ant-Man could alter Adam's size thanks to the Pym particle field he generates. Hank would just need to stall long enough to remove or disable Adam's biobelt, and he's had no trouble hacking enemy tech in the past.
But even with the biobelt busted,
yeah, the little ant sprites. It's fun.
The white dwarf power is contained throughout his suit. Destroying the belt only meant that Ant-Man could alter Adam's size.
Whereas Hank has literally rewritten his own biology to prevent outside size alteration. And while Adam's abilities are definitely impressive, they are limited, and Ant-Man simply aren't, at least by comparison. Hank could always match Ray's size or just take the fight to the overspace where he would have the edge, both physically and mentally.
The overspace can mess with the human mind, but we've seen that Hank can handle it.
But if
yeah,
the scientist
I mean,
Supreme
there's
is
just
really
an instance
smart,
of like
why didn't he just
one.
immediately go up Adam's butt and blow him up from the inside?
What's wrong with you, Wiz? Aren't you a fellow man of science?
This is the meanest thing you've ever done to me.
Adam sized up Ant-Man.
Yeah, this is an instance of both guys being able to do the same thing, but one guy just could do more, so he won. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have a new Death Battle releasing every 2 weeks this year. And click the join button to get new perks and extra content. Planet level members even see Death Battles before anyone else, so don't miss out.
Dun da 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 da. Dark Souls versus Skyrim is next. This was another one that was like revealed before
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Brandon
the
Yates.
season started.
That's right, our Brandon Yates.
Oh yeah, sponsored by Brandon Yates, the guy who does a lot of the awesome music. I'm also now realizing I've not yet talked about the update, the big, like, current, like, kerfuffle with Death Battle, is that they revealed that one of the, like, stretch goal matchups for the new Death Battle season is Aang from Avatar versus Aether from Genshin Impact.
For this Death Battle, we're giving them everything
People
they
were
have,
not
maxing
happy.
out all of their stats.
Which is totally possible in
But,
game if you're willing.
anyway, I'm talking over the episode. We can discuss that later.
Armor and skills to find out who would win a Death Battle.
But yeah, it's cool, like, player
Our
avatar
story
guys.
begins at the end. The great cities of old have collapsed. The heroes are dead or mad, and the Golden Age is over. Looking out upon their decaying kingdom, everyone would like nothing more than to lay down and die.
Too bad for them. That's the one thing they couldn't do.
The world has been gripped by the undead curse, turning anyone with a mysterious dark sign into mindless, violent hollows upon repeated soul-crushing deaths.
But there is a prophecy of a chosen undead who will journey to Lordran, the home of the gods, and save the world.
Rotting away in an asylum, all it took was an assist from an unlucky knight and a
Yeah,
giant raven before
same.
one unlikely hero was ready to
I've played a
claw their
little
way
bit
through
of
their
it,
progenitor's
like,
forgotten
at a
homeland.
friend's place,
They
like a
can keep
long
their
time
sense of
ago.
purpose. An undead will always resurrect at the nearest bonfire.
But it
Now
it
they
feels
might
like a
slowly lose their
gamer
memory
rite
of
of
their
passage
personality
to
and
play
their
Dark
sanity,
Souls.
But the curse gives them as much time as they need to get good.
Undead are unnaturally resilient, able to survive being impaled through the chest. They've been chewed, eaten, and digested by what I can only describe as a toilet demon. And they can have their souls torn from their very body, because undead humans don't need their souls to survive.
Just pop some of that spicy Sunny D and they're good to go. If anything, it seems like they get off to it. And speaking of souls, they can absorb the souls of their fallen enemies to increase their power.
They're a master with swords, hammers, spears, axes, bows, you name it. And that's without any formal training. With the right stats and setup, they can be anything from a cartwheeling assassin to a dragon-smashing tank.
To the giantest of dads. And despite the serious gothic themes of the series, these weapons can get anime as hell. Smo's Great Hammer is a ginormous mallet the size of a sedan.
Based on its size and likely bronze composition,
Yeah, there's
100 tons. A lot like
a
Goth's
lot
Great
of
Bow, which can shoot
options
pillar-sized arrows and
early
one-shot
on.
dragons out of the sky.
Or my favorite, the Moonlight Great Sword, produced from the ass of the albino dragon and founder of sorcery, Seath the Scaleless. This baby's a universe-hopping anomaly that can fire powerful sword beams and just looks so cool!
The Chosen Undead has learned magic from the greatest practitioners in the world. They can create shockwaves, form defensive barriers, reflect damage, throw balls of flame, control minds, fire magical crystal spears, turn invisible, and toss bolts of sunlight strong enough to peel the stone scales off a mortal dragon.
Yeah,
So their pool of
Sekiro
magic
or
is pretty limited.
Bloodborne
So
I've
if
heard
it
is
comes
good.
down to it, they can
Maybe
shut off
maybe
all
now we'll
magic
get
in
that
the
PC
vicinity
port.
with the miracle Vow of Silence.
Preventing anyone from speaking any spells aloud, including themselves. With this incredible arsenal and judicious attention paid to the stamina bar, the Chosen Undead was rolling their way to victory.
A roll so powerful it bends the laws of space and warps them through attacks like they weren't even there. Though sometimes it doesn't work and it's bullshit.
That's just a game mechanic, but great to use when you're panicking.
They've defeated Nido, the god of death, the bed of chaos, the mother of all demonkind, and Calamite, the strongest surviving ancient dragon.
That was when the Chosen Undead was dragged back in time to face the fallen knight Artorias, the greatest warrior in history. And not only defeat him, but accomplish the greatest feat attributed to Artorias' legend, the destruction of Manus, the father of the abyss that threatened to consume the world.
They've even beaten other chosen undead from alternate worlds, like the best buddy in all gaming, Solaire. Praise the sun, bro! And soon they were approached by these two slithery freaks. One said to link the fire, and the other said to let it die out, which totally makes sense. Wiz can explain it.
Don't look at me. Dark Souls lore is as notoriously convoluted as the flow of its time stream, which is why we have a true expert in the realms of nerdom to explain it for us. Oh, Jocelyn.
You wouldn't believe how many item descriptions, forum posts, and moody 2013 lore videos I had to watch through for this. It's story time, kids.
That feels
In
like a
the beginning,
complaint
the
specifically
world
from
was
the actual
unformed and
researchers
static.
for the
Then suddenly
episode.
the first flame burst to life, and with it, the concepts of heat and cold, life and death, energy and time, light and dark.
Sounds like a mythological Big Bang.
The gods were granted immensely powerful souls from the first flame, but their greatest fear was the soul possessed collectively by the race known as humanity, the Dark Soul. The Skyfather Gwyn feared humanity's immortality, and so sealed their dark souls within them. But as humanity reproduced, the Dark Soul collectively grew,
He
and the
couldn't
first
fill their
flame
dark
waned.
souls with
Turns
light.
out humans were naturally undying, or according to the gods' propaganda, undead.
Gasp! It's all a conspiracy. The undead curse was a lie!
Linking the fire means using your very soul as fuel to keep the first flame burning. If an undead champion believes their immortality is a curse, they'll do anything to prevent it, including burning fragments of the dark soul to keep the age of the gods going.
So you're a pawn in a game played by decrepit gods desperately clinging to power. Well, that's a huge bummer.
They might look like a depressed California raisin, but in order to link the flame, their soul needs to be strong enough to maintain the whole universe and the flow of time for another 1,000 years.
Other similarly powerful undead across time are swift enough to dodge lightning and even light itself. Based on their dodge compared to this beam and the time it took to reach them, they'd be reacting and moving at over 20% the speed of light.
At the end of their quest, they faced down and defeated Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder, long hollowed from linking the flame 1,000 years ago. So, which will you choose? Link the fire and prolong the current age, or let it fade until only dark remains?
This is the biggest bummer of them all. Truth is, it never mattered. The cycle just continues age after age, with new heroes replacing the old ones, until the chosen undead was long forgotten.
Until the infinite march of time ground the world to ash. It was never about the happy ending. It didn't exist. It was about the struggle to get there. That's ultimately what gives us meaning.
Damn, that's
This episode of Death Battle is
that's a
sponsored
bit
by
on the
That's
nose.
right, Boomstick. Dive into
I don't know, a bit
the
morose for
versus
Death
music of
Battle.
Brandon Yates, as he brings hypothetical matchups to life through his
Oh yeah,
composition,
check out
composition,
Brandon Yates'
Brandon, one of the composers behind Death Battle,
YouTube
bringing
channel
us the
for
incredible show-stopping songs you
cool
know and
music,
love. Seriously, we
a bunch
love
of
this
Death
guy.
Bell
Dreams, Princess Bride, Edge
OSTs,
of Tomorrow,
as well as
all-time greats.
commissioned
In fact, he
tracks
composed the
for
track this
people's
very episode.
like
We'd love it if you
imagined
supported Brandon's work and enjoyed more of his
versus
music by
matchups.
subscribing to his channel and following him on Spotify.
Ever had a matchup you just want to see on the show and you just wish
He has
you
a
had
great
the
matchup
music
idea,
track
but
for it?
no
Well,
Brandon
fans
Yates
of Death
track.
Battle have been loving Brandon's music for years, all commissioned by fans like you.
We're talking hundreds of commissioned songs, all for hypothetical episodes of Death Battle.
Everything from hard rock to jazzy to electronic to orchestral choirs.
And because Brandon is literally one of the main composers of this show, every track he makes sounds straight out of Death Battle itself.
Love the music from Death Battle? Then don't wait. Subscribe to Brandon Yates' YouTube and follow him on Spotify right away.
Anyway, Scrim.
Hey, you're finally awake. Welcome to the frosty Viking paradise of Skyrim. Visit the quaint Nordic villages. Hike up to the throne of the world. Marvel at the beauty of Blackreach. Hey, what's that in the sky? Why, it's Macho Man Randy Savage. No, it's Thomas the Tank Engine.
No, that is a dragon. But not just any mere drake. This is Alduin, the World Eater. And he's come to burn everything to a cinder.
But
Yeah,
fortunately for
same.
You, his path of destruction happened to interrupt your impending
I don't think it's ever gonna live up
execution
to
at the hands of those
the
uppity
amount of
Imperial
like
pigs.
funny
worst
Skyrim
mistake
mod
this steely
videos
monster
I've
would
seen
ever
online.
make.
It wouldn't be long before
My
you
playthrough
escape
will
the
never be
destruction
as
of
awesome
Helgen
as
and
anything
defeated a
Doug
dragon
has done with
yourself.
this
They
game.
absorbed its freaking soul.
That could
Yeah,
only
I mean,
mean one
we know
thing.
people who like it a
You
lot.
are a being born with the blood
But
and
we
soul
know
of a
we know
dragon
people
in
who
the
work
body
for
of a
Bethesda
Nord,
and like
elf, or Khajiit, or
kinda
lizard
have to
destined
like
to
this
battle
game,
Alduin
so.
and save the world.
In their tongue, you are the Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
In their quest to rid Tamriel of Alduin's dragon army,
Damn,
the Dragonborn became a jack of all trades, master of all.
They learned to be a master assassin with the Dark Brotherhood, a master sorcerer with the College of Winterhold, a master thief with the Nightingales, a master dragon hunter with the Blades, and a master good boy. Who's a good boy? That's a good boy.
They even fought in the Skyrim Civil War on the side of the Imperial Legion, champions of order.
You mean the Nordic War for Independence on the side of the Stormcloaks?
Those elf-funded Nord supremacists?
Better than those jackbooted Cyrodiil fascists? But what else could I expect from a monster who steals from innocent villagers by sticking buckets over their heads?
They can put their skills to good use with an absolute glut of weaponry.
Yeah,
Not just the usuals
that
like
sounds
daggers,
about right.
swords, hammers, and axes, but also special weapons given to them by the Daedric princes.
They're basically crazy powerful gods from the plane of existence called Oblivion. From that wascally wabbit Sheogorath, the Dragonborn received the Wabbajack, a staff that casts a completely random spell on its target, from disintegrating them to healing them to turning them into a chicken.
From Meridia, they received the Dawnbreaker, a holy sword made for burning the undead to ash. That's similar to
Yeah,
Oriel's bow,
I don't-
which can shoot fiery arrows that can blot out the sun.
Oh my
To
God.
cover the distance between the Earth and the
I don't
sun in about 2 seconds.
think
the arrow
I've
would have to be moving
played
at
a
over
Bethesda game
250
personally.
times the speed of light.
Except this isn't Earth and the Sun. This is the planet Nirn, and that's Magnus. According to the Elder Scrolls lore master Michael Kirkbride and his in-universe text cosmology, when you look up at the sun, you're actually looking into a dimension of pure magic. Confused yet? I am.
That
The
sounds
exact
cool
measurements
as
here are
fuck though.
difficult to make, but if anything, the distance should be much greater.
Speaking of magic bullshit, the Dragonborn can heal themselves, cast wards and destructive elemental spells, control minds, conjure weapons, and summon lesser Daedra to help them out in a scrap.
They're an especially powerful mage because their
Whoa.
mana recovers itself automatically over
Hot
time.
fire
They'll
lady,
never truly run
Aluga.
out of firepower. But as a Dovahkiin, the ability they're most famous for is the Thum, or Shout. By speaking the words of the dragon language, they can manifest their will into reality.
Like with the classic Fus Roda, an unrelenting force which can knock your neighbors into next week, or Soul Tear, which removes the soul from your enemy's body and stores it in a cute gem, like so. Reverse all! Wait, why didn't anything? Oh.
Student loans, man. Something had to cover the down payment. With these shouts, the
Wiz
Dragonborn
canonically
can
has
summon
no soul.
country-spanning storms, slow down time, and even call upon a dragon for help. Odahviing.
Dragons may look like scaly reptiles, but in reality, they're immortal demigods.
I love the
older than
lore
time
for Wiz and
itself.
Boomstick
They're the
that we
children
get.
of the chief god of Tamriel's pantheon.
The Dragonborn is an unstoppable force of nature. If they happen to take any damage, they can just drink a potion or nosh on a cheese wheel and be good as new. And they can carry up to 150 cheeses at once. My dream.
Assuming these abnormally large cheese wheels have an average weight of 70 pounds, we can determine that the Dragonborn can carry up to 10,000
Cheese wheel calc. Cheese wheel calc.
Considering they can match muscles with giants who are so strong they can shatter the game's spaghetti code to pieces.
The last Dragonborn has battled the vampire Lord Harkon, ended Skyrim's civil war, and defeated the first Dragonborn, Miraak.
And according to the book The Guardian and the Traitor, Miraak was powerful enough to tear apart the island of Solstheim from Skyrim's mainland.
By comparing the size of various countries on Tamriel's map, we can determine that Solstheim is a landmass nearly 1,500 miles in diameter. In order to move that much land over the course of their fight, Miraak's magical prowess must have output an energy over 300 teratons of TNT.
That's 3 times the impact of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs.
Not too crazy when shouts can get strong enough to shake the world itself.
It wasn't long before the Dragonborn confronted Alduin in Nord Heaven and put an end to the World Eater once and for all.
The epithet is literal. By absorbing the souls in Skyrim's afterlife, Alduin was powerful enough to devour everything. Not just the planet of Nirn, but the Kalpa, the entire timeline past, present, and future.
That's the level of unimaginable power the Dragonborn is dealing with here.
Tamriel is no stranger to great heroes across its vast, sprawling history. The Nerevarine, the hero of Kvatch, all magnificent in their own right.
But when you heard that shout echo through the mountains and the death throes of a dragon defeated, you knew it could only be the Dovahkiin. Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin.
Thank you, Boomstick.
Hey, Wiz, did you know that I can blow up a galaxy?
Oh yeah, this is join, get a YouTube membership if you want. If you want cool content and like access to their Discord and stuff.
Go and stop this fool who would let the flame burn the age of humans to ashes. The Ancients of Dark will do anything to snuff out the light. Save us, chosen undead. Ustruna!
He took an arrow to the knee! No! The dragon summon. Yo!
Dragon warrior, blink the fire! Let true dark be cast upon the world. Our Lord hath returned.
So yeah, this episode's sick as fuck.
Oh my god, this boss is bullshit!
This debate
And
was
I like
fascinating. The Dragonborn had a wider variety of
I like
training,
how they
better
kind
access
of-
to summons, and magic that passively regenerated. As
they
opposed to the
they
chosen
sort of
undead's
frame it as
limited
like
pool of magic.
the Dragonborn is a boss, a Dark Souls boss that the Chosen Undead is fighting. It's really cool. This is one of the potential 10 out of 10s from this season, in my opinion.
Arrows that move at least 250 times that.
But none of that mattered if the chosen
It's just cool. You can tell that a lot of passion went into it, even if some parts of the animation aren't as fluid as they could be.
Really the same as Draugr from Skyrim.
Skyrim undead are more like those classic reanimated skeletons. But remember the conspiracy. Humans in Dark Souls are naturally immortal. They're not actually
Yeah,
undead.
it definitely
Solitaire wouldn't have
like
much use either, considering humans in Dark
felt
Souls can
like
have their souls
the
removed without
source
dying.
material.
So why didn't the chosen
Very
undead
faithful.
just keep coming back until they eventually won? Like with any Dark Souls boss.
One word, power. The Dragonborn had way more and greater feats of raw power than the Chosen Undead.
Oh yeah, like summoning country-spanning storms with a single shout, or defeating Mirek, who split a continent.
There's also the lore. Both characters are essentially mythological demigods in the same kind of vein as Hercules or Sun Wukong. Gameplay alone won't give you the best idea of their full power as characters.
So let's get an idea of their max potential from the lore.
The lore.
Chosen Undead sustaining the first flame with their soul was insanely impressive. Considering the first flame is responsible for the core concepts of the universe, like energy and time, it's not a stretch to say it affects not just the planet they live on, but the whole universe.
But that's nothing compared to the power levels in the Elder Scrolls.
Let's compare the first flame to Alduin. Both literally run on the power of souls, and both can be directly scaled to our combatants.
Alduin had strength to consume the universe. Not
Oh,
just
okay.
Nirn, but the Kalpa as well.
You know those planets you see in the sky? According to cosmology, those are actually separate, infinitely big planes of reality. Alduin was going to
alright.
infinity. Multiple infinities.
In comparison, the first
Cool.
flame is powerful enough to sustain a universe and the flow of time. But it can't be infinite. Otherwise, it never would have faded to begin with.
Dude,
And that meant that
Skyrim
Chosen
Man
Undead
is like
wasn't powerful enough
infinite
no matter how many
multiversal.
times they revive. With that much of a
Cool.
difference in power, the Chosen Undead would eventually lose their will to fight and go hollow. It's not traditional, but it is a form of death in Dark Souls. The Chosen Undead was surely tenacity personified, but still wasn't enough to stand up to the Dragonborn's incredible skill, broken arsenal, and overwhelming power.
The chosen undead could only last so long before they flamed out.
The winner is the Dragonborn. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
The new
so-
Death Battle
so
releases
that's a
every
pretty
2
good
weeks
one.
this year. And click the join
The
button to
next
get new perks
episode's
and
gonna
extra
be the
content.
last one
Planet level members
we
get to see
watch
Death Battles before
for
anyone
this-
else, so don't miss out.
this time, and this is Killua versus Misaka. Hunter x Hunter versus a Soitan Magical Index. Did not mean to click that. Whoops. Yeah. Now, I mean, I personally was kind of disappointed when this one was announced, because if you know me, like, I wanted Killua to fight Ren from Shaman King, which I think would have been like a really cool matchup, and I really like Shaman King. But hey, I like Killua too. So you know, it's like
What is more terrifying
we'll
than
see.
the all-powerful crackling might of lightning?
Lightning in the hands of cocky, hyper-talented teenagers. Ah, the worst combination. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Oh, because of
And it's our job
yo-yos?
to analyze their weapons,
Killua
armor, and
versus
skills to
Bridget
find out
might
who
be.
would win
Hold on.
a death battle.
Time to pull up versus Battle Wiki and see how how strong Bridget
the
is.
Zoldycks, a vicious family of assassins known the world over. So infamous for their killing techniques, a single photo of any member sells for millions.
You don't want to be the target of their next family outing. But like all families, there's bound to be a rebel.
As was the case with the middle child.
Oh, okay,
Killua.
Bridget apparently
They
wins
seriously
because,
named him Kill? Hardcore.
Well, it might be
No,
a pun
Bridget
on the
wins
term
because Guilty
Killua,
Gear scaling.
but Kill is apt, given he's been trained in past tensing people since he was 3.
I'll say, at age 14, he was strong enough to open a 64-ton door. Geez, what kind of workout did his family put him through? Somehow, it gave him 6 skater skills, extendable claws, and rhythm echo, a technique that lets him fool people's senses with just his feet.
More accurately, by manipulating the cadence of his footsteps, Killua can create an auditory illusion, capable of tricking even extrasensory abilities.
Killua was a heck of a prodigy, but despite being able to effortlessly rip out hearts, his family still thought he wasn't cold-blooded enough.
Fed up, he ran away. Not to the circus, but to the Hunter Association, an association of people who hunt stuff. There, he tested himself in the Hunter's exam and inevitably had gone head over heels for his new friend, Gon. Get it?
Oh God, Wiz, are you still taking those waste of time improv classes?
Yes, and I think it's going pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Killua's family didn't like him making
Yeah.
friends.
Hunter
so
Hunter's
they sat him down and then
cool.
calmly and politely tortured him mercilessly as punishment. It was only thanks to Gon that Killua finally convinced his old man to let him go out on adventures with his buddies.
But this change of heart was no act of compassion. Killua's father saw his freedom as just another step in molding him into a better killer. And in some ways, he was right. Through his adventures, Killua learned Nen, an invisible life force that...
Yeah, it's key. It's always key.
Actually, this one's a bit more complicated. You see, Nen is utilized through 4 main
I
principles.
appreciate it.
10 for containing your aura while defending from
Nen
physical and
explanation
mental attacks.
time.
Zetsu for relieving fatigue and masking your presence. Ren for bolstering strength and influencing emotions.
That's pretty standard so far.
And Hatsu, the unique way in which one's Nen is expressed. This comes in many forms, but all fall into one of 6 types, which represent how proficient a Nen user is at certain techniques.
So it's an RPG.
Boo, Genshin,
More
boo.
like a hybrid class system, because most users actually fall somewhere between 2 categories, giving them different
Get out of
degrees
here.
of
We know how the
proficiency.
Death Battle
Techniques from
community
these Nen
feels about
categories can
Genshin
be further
Impact.
enhanced by adding rules to their use. Oh, then there are the advanced principles, which...
Oh God, okay, I get it.
But we haven't even talked about Killua's Hatsu yet. Killua is a transmuter enhancer, i.e. he specializes in transmuting his aura into
Michael
different
Jackson.
forms and
No,
enhancing the
I've
power
heard
of
he's
himself
pretty
and
good.
others.
People
uses
like
aura
that guy, I
He
think.
makes lightning.
Yes, in Killua's hand, lightning becomes a deadly weapon that
Transmuter abilities like Hisoka's bungee gum, which possesses the properties of both rubber and gum,
Like
remain
his super
invisible as
alloy
well.
Yo-yos. These bad boys weigh up to 50 kilograms. See, that's how you make a pun, Wiz. Packing enough force to shatter trees like I just shattered Wiz's confidence.
Add in Killua's lightning, and he can electrify anyone who touches them.
And this isn't some magicy-smagicy lightning. His bolts have been identified as the real deal more than once.
Meaning, Killua is certainly as fast as actual lightning, especially when he uses it on himself to bust out Godspeed, a form that greatly amplifies his agility and power, letting him bypass his synapses to reflexively react to threats.
God, this is
For
so
regular
cool.
folk, that much voltage would be too much. But thanks to Killua's training, he can shrug off over 1,000,000 volts of electricity.
He's also exceptionally crafty. In a Nen fight, every move matters, and strategy
The
almost
zooms.
always triumphs, even against greater strength.
Killua used these powers to battle world-renowned thieves, bomber mercenaries, and ants.
That may not sound like much, but these Chimera ants were brutal, murdering and eating people by the hundreds of thousands, then threatening billions. That reminds me of an old experiment gone horribly wrong.
Killua understandably wanted to bail, but Gon pulled him back in, much to his frustration.
Killua wanted to be there for Gon emotionally, but could not comprehend why he was risking so much against the Chimera ants, going as far as becoming a monster.
In other words, Killua was crushing really hard, but didn't know what to do about Gon's simple-minded impulsiveness. It didn't end well for anyone.
It wasn't all doom and gloom, though. Killua held his own against some of the Chimera ants' best, surviving this forest-consuming blast from one of their captains.
Which, judging by its size, was worth several kilotons.
And he later injured a top-ranking royal guard, Yuppie.
Sure, he ran for the hills the moment Godspeed wore off, and isn't as strong as the weird horseman, but even just damaging someone who can make a crater like this is nothing to sniff at.
But amidst all the fighting, Killua still could not get his family out of his mind. Literally.
As in, his brother, Illumi, put a needle in his head, forcing him to be controlled by self-preservation, ensuring he'd always run when victory isn't guaranteed. Wiz, you think you can call CPS for that?
Thankfully, after some much-needed self-surgery and self-reflection, Killua removed it, overcoming his mental barrier and ready to risk his life for those he cherishes.
Which he did when he finally got himself and his dear sister Alluka away from their demented family. He even brought Gon back from the brink of his creepy Nen coma.
But despite how valuable Gon was as a friend, Killua realized his unhealthy dependence on him.
So he decided to travel with and protect Alluka, finally realizing what he
And,
wants
like,
to do for the rest of his life.
Also, don't worry, Killua hasn't done anything else in the manga
Still, if
from after
Gon or
this
Alluka
point.
ever need help,
They
Killua
literally
is
just
sure to come running.
part ways.
Killua, anyone dumb enough to mess
And
with
then
him
it's
or those he cares about.
Kurapika does some stuff, and then it's, oh god, all over the place.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Killua could probably have used some better help.
A sprawl. Academy City, a sprawling metropolis filled with schools where espers train to master their supernatural abilities.
Most of these youngins dream of rivaling the best espers, but only a few are hardworking.
I've always thought about giving Magical Index a try.
Middle School's level 5 Electro Master, Misaka Mikoto.
It seems neat.
Level 5? So she's a Pokemon, but an anime girl.
Each Esper's power and utility is ranked, with level 5 being the highest they can normally achieve.
And after working up to that level, Misaka became unstoppable. She can magnetize herself to metal, electrically enhance her physique, sense her surroundings through an electromagnetic radar, and generate billions of volts.
In addition, she can make iron sand from disparate particles in the air to form tornadoes, body decoys, or a sword that vibrates at rapid speeds for enhanced cutting power.
Just what an anime girl needs, a chainsaw. Man, if she gets serious,
Boo!
she can even make a friggin' 6 million ton kaiju out of it.
With such tremendous power, Misaka put an end to many crimes, earning fear among criminals, admiration among her peers, and lots of personal pride in her abilities. There was nothing she couldn't overcome.
Nothing except the bane of all tsunderes, a frizzy-haired, dumbass anime protagonist.
Enter Kamijo Toma, a level 0 nobody who Misaka could not harm, no matter how many times she tried.
Oh, I hate you, but I secretly love you, and it'll work out in the end. Shut up! But she'd have more than a dork like Toma to worry about. As amazing as Academy City is, it's more corrupt than New York real estate. Years ago, Misaka gave some shady scientists a sample of her DNA, being promised it'd help cure tons of fatal diseases.
Instead, they made tens of thousands of clones of her, sending them all to be slaughtered one by one.
That's fucked up.
Specifically against another level 5 and A-tier edgelord named Accelerator. By farming all these clones, they hoped he would finally get enough EXP to become a mythic level 6. Is that seriously all it takes? How does this Esper stuff work?
Glad you asked. Espers represent the scientific side of the world, a side I'm so familiar with. All Espers possess an involuntary movement or AIM diffusion field that manifests their power, letting them consciously alter reality.
Changing reality with your mind. Isn't that just magic?
Au contraire, Boomstick, it's quite scientific. Look at Misaka's signature move, the Railgun. Many real-life railguns use a set of parallel conductors to generate Lorentz force. By envisioning imaginary rails between herself and her target, Misaka can create a similar yet greater effect, accelerating the speed and kinetic force of a projectile, usually a coin, into a concussive bullet. It's beautiful. It's science.
How long are you gonna be nerding out over this?
Come on, this is like my one thing.
I really like how they're characterizing Wiz more this season.
By the endless
It's fun.
slaughter, Misaka felt enormous guilt. You see it all the time with horrific experiments.
Sure, buddy.
She worked for days to end the clone project, but concluded it would have to end with her sacrifice.
But Toma butted in, giving Misaka the support she needed in her darkest hour, while also punching out Albino Magneto with his Esper-proof fist.
Misaka had shouldered her burden for so long that she forgot how to rely on others. This wake-up call from her newfound crush was exactly what she needed.
But even with Accelerator decelerated, Misaka kept fighting Academy City's underbelly, all to protect her friends and free her sister clones she befriended. She dealt with a lot of trouble on the way, but had the power to do it.
In her battle with a killer cyborg lady, Misaka conjured a city-spanning storm, which, by measuring the size of the cloud relative to the city, would require over.
Why are you moving like that? Chill with the After Effects,
Yeah,
bro.
She's also fought other level 5s, not just Accelerator. She got into a middle school beef with a snobby telepath, fought this explosive weirdo, and dodged particle beams from an unhinged Karen.
The electrons of which can accelerate to high relativistic speeds.
It's no shock. Misaka's reactions are that fast, given her lightning has been stated to be light speed on 5 different occasions.
More than just her powers, though, Misaka's greatest
not
asset
lightning.
is her intellect.
It might not look it, but high-level espers constantly perform tons of nerd math just to make their powers work.
And understanding other powers has been just as vital to Misaka's survival. Take her bout with the magic Valkyrie, Brunhild.
Remember when Wiz said espers were the science side of the world? Well, these weirdos are packing the magic. A single mistake from Misaka could have meant death, but she still stalemated Brunhild.
Now, Brunhild was still stronger and faster, but it is impressive Misaka was able to harm a saint, who are normally only deployed against foes capable of leveling mountains. One such foe, Hell, froze 100 kilometers of ocean.
You'd think this means Misaka can take on all sorts of magical baddies. But alas, the power creep says otherwise.
He's actually serious. When you're dealing with crazy magicians and magic gods, even a level 5 Esper struggles to keep up. Misaka valued her abilities so highly that she struggled to maintain her self-esteem when they weren't enough.
A shame Misaka cares so much about getting stronger when Toma appreciates her as a person first and foremost.
While certainly a flaw, that ever-persistent hard-headedness will also keep Misaka around, no matter the stakes.
So watch out, because this pint-sized 14-year-old is quite literally a walking railgun.
Neat.
This episode is sponsored by
I don't care about HelloFresh. Get out of here. Blah, blah, blah.
Alright, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time
That's a good screen. I like that. How many certain jokes are you gonna make? Anyway, fight time.
Hey, that's mine. I've been looking for it all day. Give it here.
You want it? Come and get it. Coins, huh? I had a butler who used these.
Hey, I get that reference.
Focus. It's a trick of sound, not sight. Gotcha. He's good at hand-to-hand. Better keep my distance.
She has stronger lightning. Gotta get in close. No problem.
The skateboard!
No time to break. Now's my chance.
You don't know when to quit!
Man, these sprites were not made for some of these animations. Like that.
Catch this.
She's keeping this thing together with electromagnetism, meaning it can be disrupted! Wait a minute.
Distance, 35 meters. Altitude, 45, 40, now.
Yeah. Like, this, I'm not a huge fan of this, but, like, some parts of that fight go so hard. Like, the part where Killua does Thunderbolt on the big, like, iron sand kaiju gave me chills. Like, oh god.
Survive kilowatt-ton level blasts, and given some leeway, could scale to Goofy, whose crater
Also, I think,
18 megatons of TNT.
ironically enough, the power level of, like, the combatants this season is so high that I think Killua is actually the slowest character this season, despite speed being his whole thing.
Always have the advantage in raw electrical power.
No surprise there. Killua may have shrugged off 1,000,000 volts of electricity, but Misaka can dish out and survive billions.
Still, both characters have contended with and harmed stronger opponents, and the two power systems they work under have allowed weaker opponents to defeat stronger ones in the past.
So,
yeah,
alone wouldn't net either a win. Plus, Killua was way better at hand-to-hand and physically stronger.
Knowing his crafty assassin skills, things could have gone south for Misaka if she wasn't careful.
But fortunately for the railgun, she was. Her fight with Brunhild shows she knows how to deal with tough, up-close threats while keeping her distance.
And being able to dodge particle beams meant Misaka was more than fast enough to react to even Killua's lightning-quick speed.
Add to that her bigger pool of powers, and she had plenty of ways to counter Rhythm Echo, since Killua's lightning, or just pin him in place long enough to pull off.
But yeah, this is another case of, oh hey, this character can do is just the other character but stronger. Another reason why I wanted Killua versus Ren, because that would have been slightly more fair, even if I do think Ren would still win.
But hey, at least she let Killua keep the change. She Killua'd him.
The winner is Misaka Mikoto.
Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be the last one for tonight.
We have a new Death Battle releasing every 2 weeks this year, and click the join button to get new perks and extra content. Planet level members
we can see the preview for the next time.
So don't miss out.
Over here, I think it's. Yeah, the next one is Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon, which is neat. But anyway, yeah, let's pull up the old tier list and throw some of these on here. I hate to break it to you, but yes, because Killua only is as fast as lightning is his highest, like, scaling, and every character after, I think, is at least that, or they're like light speed, which is, I mean, obviously gonna be faster. Oh man, placing some of these is so hard. Like, man, where the fuck do I put this one? Probably. And then yeah, for season 10 we can just, like, yeah, that's it. So yeah, as for watching episodes, that's gonna be it for tonight. I did want to briefly mention, though, the whole Genshin Impact thing, because that was very funny. So for the Death Battle Kickstarter, they're like teasing matches that are coming up, and all the ones they've been like teasing so far is like stretch goals. Oh yeah, like Ash versus Yugi, Ruby versus Maka, Simone the Digger versus the White Lantern. That's all, like, those are big, highly requested ones that people have been asking for forever. And then they announced most recently, the next stretch goal is Aang from Avatar versus Aether from Genshin Impact. And they advertise it's like, this matchup is our very first Genshin Impact combatant. And I think they kind of overestimated how much people like Genshin Impact, because the response from the community was a resounding boo. People were not happy. I saw a few people saying stuff along the lines of, how do I undonate? Which, while funny, is a little mean. You know me, I'm Genshin's biggest hater. My response, my initial reaction was like, because it's, I mean, it was kind of an eventuality. Genshin's a big series, and a lot of the team are admitted big fans of it. But it's so funny how they were, like, using it to, like, hey, here's your next incentive to donate. And people were mad. Anyway, on that cheery note, that's going to be it for tonight's stream. I hope you enjoyed. After this, we should have 2 more Death Battle streams, and then we'll be done for now. Do people like Aether specifically? I mean, he's the, like, the player avatar character. So, in terms of character, he's kind of a blank slate. I think they're putting him up against Aang because he can also control all the elements. Like, it's not a matchup I even care about for, like, either character, really. Because Aang as a character doesn't really fit with Death Battle. Because his whole thing is he's a pacifist. So it's, I don't know, it's a whole thing. They even moved the next, like... they have glider things. True! They moved the next, like, character reveal to be, like, an earlier, like, donation goal, so that, like, people have, like, an incentive to donate more, because people were not happy. But yeah, we've been going a while. It's late. I'm gonna sign off here. I hope you enjoyed. I'm looking forward to some of these upcoming episodes. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your night, and take care. Bye-bye.